Hello, good evening. Very warm welcome to the session today. In the questions dialog box, let's chat a bit before we start the presentations today. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to talk to you about the conclusion and findings of yesterday's session with members. So, how are you all feeling today? Please type in the questions dialog box. The options are motivated, excited, nervous, prepared, not well prepared. Finally, good is not an option. Zara, that's great to hear that. Excited and nervous. Oh wow, okay. Iman, Anas, motivated. All right, here, excellent. Finally, thank you very much. That's better. Prepared, which means you're ready to fight. Yeah, excellent. So, excellent, Aish. Thank you. Thank you. Excited. Yeah. So yesterday's session with members, I think there were great learnings. First of all, my observations about, the positive observations about the preparations that members had done was that everyone had very thoroughly read the case study. And there was some very fierce, I would not say competition, questioning and answering between members going on yesterday. Yeah, fierce. I'm using this word deliberately. And that's because the presenter group and the rebuttal group, they were throwing very technical, very relevant, very pertinent questions at each other. And it's not that the presenters didn't have the right answers. They had the right answers. They were prepared to take those questions, and they're very thoroughly enjoying this entire process also. So I think the best learning there was, for the presenters, the best learning was that you have to be very careful and selective while answering questions. You can't just ignore a question, but you should know how to deflect a question. So even if you don't have an answer readily available, there's a proper way. You can't just say, I'm sorry, this question was beyond the scope of the presentation. You can never say that. Okay, but you can very nicely deflect it. So you can, the first thing to say to such a question would be, thank you very much, that's a very nice question. This thought never crossed my mind. So why don't you give us a certain time, a day or two, and we'll get back to you with the answer on this. We'll get back to you with our expert opinion about this. So what are you saying in this dialogue? Number one, you are appreciating. You begin by appreciating the individual. So, half the animosity of the person who's asking this difficult question, half the animosity is killed straight away. Okay, when you're praising that individual. The remaining half, you can say you were not expecting, or you were not, you've not thought about this dimension. So once again, in a way, you're praising that individual, that he was thinking in a direction where nobody else was thinking. And the last thing you're saying about yourself is, I'll give my expert opinion. So you're saying, look, I am the expert here, right? So I'll give my expert opinion, having looked at the circumstances under which this issue came up. So I think this was, this was an excellent learning. Regarding the presentation, there were groups which had really done an excellent job with the slides, the slide deck, the using the infographics, using a template in the infographics, finding a template from the net to use. So they've done a really very good job. But at the same time, just a very nice looking slide deck is not enough. A presentation, it comprises of two very important components. Number one, the slide deck, of course, it has to be engaging. It has to be pleasant to look at. The second thing is presenter. How was the presenter taking that presentation along? Was that presenter keeping the interest of the audience alive That's the most important thing. If you're just, you know, in a very bland fashion, just reading sentences, reading bullet points on the screen, I can guarantee the entire audience will fall asleep. So my advice is normally is that you should have a storyline in your mind. When you're making a presentation, you should have a storyline in your mind. It's just that you, as if you're telling a story, in a particular sequence, you're telling a story to a little kid. So that, that level of simplicity should be there in your delivery. Okay, so that is what I mean. Some of the learnings were, there were certain individuals who did an excellent job with presenting, but they were, they had very, very texty slides. They hadn't used infographics as much. But on the flip side, there were some who had excellent presentations, but their delivery was a little weaker. Now, when you're presenting in a group, there are group dynamics involved, okay, which means the transition from one person to the next should be very smooth, very seamless, yeah, and it should not break the momentum of the presentation. Okay. Number two, um, this has to be rehearsed at least once or twice. Okay, so the switching of slides, the switching of presenters, this should at least be rehearsed once, right? And number three, timekeeping is very important. In a real life, if it is a 10 minutes presentation, if it's a real competition, after 10 minutes, a buzzer is sounded, and whatever you've said is what you've said. You can't add any more thing. So even if you had prepared an excellent stuff which was yet to come, nobody's listening. Okay, so time management is very important, and the reason why we have set 10 minutes as the time for the presentation is because we want to see how you pick your content, and enough content to fit into 10 minutes. Anything which is beyond 10 minutes is unimportant. It's not relevant, not required. Okay, so that's how it is. We'll try to keep it by time, by the clock. My friend Firoz is going to time all of you. He's going to assess all of you as well. And this time, Firoz is also going to give an opinion about how the presentation was after each presentation. Now, let's begin with today's show. Well, was this advice helpful? Had you thought about this before? Have you prepared accordingly? Questions dialog box. In the questions dialog box, please. It's complete silence. Okay, Alina Seher saying, yes, we thought about it. Excellent. Okay. Aish, thoughtful. Yes, very insightful. Thank you very much. Sarah Batul, I had given about a 15 minutes lecture. Can't repeat it. Golden words are never repeated, right? All right. Okay, Nadeem has said he never thought about it. Okay. Okay. Anas, yes, thank you very much. This is exactly, it is a very important technique. And, if you look at, these politicians on the television, right, and they normally try to steer the conversation, they use a technique which is called bridging technique. And our teams in ACCA, we were trained by BBC, a delegation from BBC of people who were journalists. They conducted this training for ACCA senior staff. They avoid answering? No, they can't avoid answering. They can't afford to do that. The important thing is what they do is it's called a bridging technique. So, for example, if let's suppose you are prepared with subject A can be anything, okay, but the journalist or the presenter of the show is asking you about B. How will you bridge it? You say, thank you very much. This is very interesting and very important at the same time. Okay, your subject B it is definitely something that we are very keen on. And but right now, what we're here to discuss is subject A. So our thought process about subject A or our preparedness about subject A is blah 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 blah. And I can assure you that as we as we go away, we will work on what you've just pointed out. So that is called the bridging technique. Okay, that's not avoiding. Okay, they very clearly touch upon the subject. They very clearly indicate, yes, whatever you said is very important to us as well, right? You can't outrightly, blatantly, or bluntly say, "No, I'm sorry, this is not the subject today. I can't answer this. Sorry." You can't do that. Otherwise, they'll grill you and they'll grind you. They'll keep coming back with the questions, with that particular question on subject B till the time you're fully exhausted. You will not get a chance. They will not. The journalists will not give you a chance to talk about subject A. But if once again, the bridging technique, you tell them, like, I appreciated your comment, your question, right? This is important for us. So here we go. That's about it, right? Important for us, full stop. But we are here to discuss this today. And there was an example that was given. There was a chief executive of an airline that faced an aeroplane crash, a little while ago. So the chief executive came on the television, and just that one statement that the chief executive made about the crash, changed the fortune of that organization. Right? So what happened was an airplane was trying to land. It slipped on the runway. The drivers, sorry, the pilots, I'm sorry, not the drivers, the pilot were very tactful. They managed the accident. A few people were injured. A few got seriously hurt, but most of the passengers, they came out unhurt in that accident. So just that one sentence that the pilot, sorry, the chief executive of the airline said to the audience, to the journalists, it was, we are very concerned, right? Number one, our heart goes for the ones who have lost lives, right? And we are very concerned, and we'll definitely help as much as I can with all those who've been injured. But here comes the bridging. But our pilots did a fantastic job. They averted a much bigger disaster. Our preparedness to handle such situations resulted in minimal loss of life, right? And that is where they started celebrating, in a way, quote unquote. Celebrating may not be the right word, I am using it. The skillfulness of their pilots, and that one answer just changed the fortune of that airline. I mean, there was so much confidence that this statement instilled in the passengers, that this airline is prepared or ready to avert any such unfortunate or untowardly incident. Okay, so that was my little speech. I hope, Sarah, you've got the gist of it now. I think in the meanwhile, Alina has vouched to go ahead first. Alina, what is the names of your group members? And Feroz, if you can make all of them the presenter, sorry, the panelist and presenter. And Alina, can you also point out who's going to be running the slides? There's one individual who has the slideshow who's going to manage it. Sorry, Feroz, you were saying something?
Yeah, the adventuring future members, they just have to raise their hands, and I'll add them as panelists.
Okay, so all the uh, group members with Alina. Alina, what is the name of your group? Adventuring the Future. Adventuring the Future. All the participants of Adventuring the Future, please raise your hand. Yabka has raised her hand only so far. Alina Seher, of course, is going to be another one. Alina, please raise your hand. Others in your group, please raise hands. Look, we'll have to make this clock work, so be very quick, okay? Be very quick. Okay, we have 7 individuals. We have Anas Khan, we have Moaz, we have Yabka, we have Aisha Munir, Alina Saher, Feroz, if you can bring the room.
Yeah, I've added Alina, Aisha, Ans, Yabka, Moaz Sohail.
Okay. And who's the presenter from the
Aisha
group?
has found
Who has the presentation?
Alina, you're on self mute. Can you unmute and let us know who will be presenting the slide?
Okay, the thing is that we have prepared like this. We all will be presenting some part, but I will be sharing the
Excellent.
whole deck, like screen.
Okay,
Okay, sure.
so Alina is the presenter.
Okay, so do I
I'll
have to
switch off
connect
from.
over here, or should we go, or are we supposed to go to this Teams?
No, we're staying here.
No, we're delivering the presentation here.
Okay, I just want to confirm that whether my other team members are over here.
Yes, we have Aisha, we have
Yes, I'm
Ans,
here.
we have Moaz, we have Yabka.
Mars is not in our group. It's Anas.
Moaz Sohail
Moaz.
is not in your group?
No, he's not in our group. It's Anas and Roman.
Roman.
Roman. Roman is not in the meeting, I guess.
Actually, he's facing some issues with the webinar. Just let me check with him.
Okay.
So can you please hurry up because we want to kick off, all right?
Okay.
And in the meanwhile, I would request anyone who's not talking, please keep your microphones muted, otherwise we'll have an issue. Okay, we have an echo issue. So Aisha Munir, your mic is unmuted. Thank you very much. I'm going to put myself on mute as well.
Okay, just let me know when my screen is visible.
Yes, it's visible. You can run the slideshow.
Okay, so basically the name of our group is Adventuring the Future, and we were 6 members: Aisha, Yapka, Vakas, Roman, Ans, and myself. Today, what we will talk about is we will talk about the streaming company Netflix and about its entry to India. Like, what are the strategies, its culture, and what are the feasible steps it can take to enter the India. So I would like to invite Aisha to start presenting first of all about Netflix agility and its corporate strategy.
Sorry, Aisha, I think you're facing some connectivity issue. Can you very quickly reconnect? Is it Aisha or Aish? Aisha. Aisha Munir. Feroz, can you manage this? I think she's connected twice.
Yes.
You might be running 2 webinar sessions. Feroz, you'll have to ask her to exit and then come back.
Okay. Aisha, can you rejoin?
And at the same time, if I can ask Anas and Yabka also to check their mics, just unmute yourself, say your name and put yourself back on mute. One by one,
Mohammed and
please.
Hassan. Can you hear me?
Am I audible?
Yep,
Yeah, you
yes,
both
you
are
are.
fine.
Am I audible, Mohammed and Hassan?
Yes, both of you are audible.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, that's great.
Feroz, you'll have to see when Aisha joins back. She will be in the
Feroz,
attendance.
Ruman just joined, so if you can put in our group, that would be great.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Aisha has also joined back. Yeah, Roman and Aisha, can you guys check your mics now?
Hello?
Yeah, you're better.
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Aisha, we can hear you. Roman, can you please check your mic as well? I think Roman is facing connectivity issues.
Sir Harun, if I cough in between, please don't mind because my soul is very,
Why would
my
I mind?
throat is very, yes.
Come
Please.
on, don't worry about that. Feroz, can you please maybe stop?
She's still facing the network issue.
Aisha, can I help you with this fixing this issue? Very quickly, if you can go to the audio option in your go to webinar menu, audio. Aisha, please listen to me. Please go to the audio option. There are three options given there: computer audio, phone call, and no audio. So please switch to no audio and then go back to computer audio. Select no audio, give it a couple of seconds, and then go back to computer audio. Now you can unmute and try your luck. This will be our last option. Otherwise, we just go ahead with the presentation.
Hello?
Yes, please
Can you
go
guys
on
hear
now.
me? Okay. One of the main drivers of Alina, can you show the next slide, please? One of the main drivers of the remarkable success of Netflix is the strategic
Aisha, your voice is
Aisha,
getting
yes.
disrupted a lot.
Elena, you can go at the same time. Just go ahead, please.
Okay, Aisha, please mute yourself. So one of the main component of Netflix success overall in creating the global footprint was the fact that it was very agile. So, for some reason my slides are not moving. Get understood. Okay, so it achieved its strategic agility by nurturing an environment for freedom and responsibility. So everywhere in Nestle, there was an environment created where employees will take decisions for themselves, and then since the decision was taken by them, they took the responsibility for those decisions when it translated into consequences. So the next thing it did was it created openness. So there was this open door policy where no matter where in a hierarchy you are placed, you can talk to people, you can communicate to people, you can go to people and discuss what you want to discuss. And the third thing was that it avoided bureaucracy, it avoided rules, it let the people to make their own decisions when needed. And it this created a lot of room for creativity and agility. This thing ultimately translated into their corporate strategy. So they had this strategic to series approach in which Netflix decided that there would be no pilot episode, and it will directly take its content to the viewers and the customer. Second, what it did, it adopted a cost plus model for its pricing, which was not really the industry norm at the time. And thirdly, it started owning the production houses so that it could keep up with the losses from licensed content. So what it did, it made Netflix a very agile company that has a lot of room for creativity, and it led people and it allowed people to do what they wanted to do without having this fear of failure. So so to have this agile environment in Netflix, there was a certain need for corporate culture that Netflix ultimately built. It called its corporate culture as N culture deck. So as described earlier, what it did is it kept the decision making with the employees. There was no need for approvals, and people could take their decisions on their own even when they consulted their peers for any sort of decision or anything. They never really needed an approval to go ahead with it. What it did, it created a risk seeking attitude. People were willing to take risks, and it never shied away from failures, even when the risk is being taken, because what they really focused on was learning from those failures. So one of another main thing in Netflix was that there was no confidential data. There was this concept of G docs and memos, as described by one of the employee as well, in which they used to share sensitive information. For example, everybody in Netflix know that how many new subscribers they have gained, which new deal they have hit, which new partner is coming on board with them, which new content is being created. So there was really this environment where information is being shared and the decisions being taken on a very fast pace. Thirdly, it really encouraged about speaking the truth, that ultimately helped it to create a very open environment. They used to sunshine their failed initiatives because this is from where they learn, this is from where they know what to do next. Then they have a system of very open and constructive feedback. On an average, Netflix employees gave feedback to 30 other peers, which really allowed them to groom themselves and at the same time to improve in their daily to daily business operations. And lastly, Netflix has this culture of keeping effective people. With effective people, it meant that they will keep the people who are determined, who are persistent, who are just going all out to want what they want. And to determine those effective people, they have this keepers test, in which a manager will decide that if they want to whether they will fight for an individual if he decides to leave for the company. So all in all, what they created this environment where everybody is really moving out, taking risk, being creative, and doing what is needed to be done to create an impact in the market. So moving on to corporate culture, what Netflix really targeted next was the Indian market. And to tell about the Indian market, Yapka will join us. Hello, Yapka.
Tiapka, you can unmute yourself now.
Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, Alina, thank you. Could you please load the slide? Um, Alina, could you please load the slide? Alina, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. I am doing it. You can start speaking.
Okay. Uh, I would. Okay, so continuing on the corporate culture as explained by Alina, if you look at the Indian market, what are the features that are exclusive to the Indian market? Number one, they have a huge market potential due to high population, and the high population consists mostly of young people. That is the Generation Z. And they can easily, very much, comprehend themselves into the Netflix culture deck easily as compared to generations before Gen Z, right? The Indian market is highly competitive, and there is extremely diversified demographics, and keeping that in mind, the bilingual diversity of India, there's a vast market that Netflix can capture, and they have to be considering on the content creation market very carefully. Now, one important feature, as we consider all these factors, is that most of the content is consumed via cell phones. That is 80%, 87%. Now, what can we do to cope up successfully with the features that are exclusive to the Indian market for Netflix? First of all, India has a lot of languages, and the Netflix should focus on producing content in those languages because there are a lot of them. Then they should focus on having a strategic alliance with the telecom sector for synergy, just so that they can capture more market by offering them low cost mobile phones and data. Now, also because the sports events, may they be national or international, uh, they are very much, it is very much interesting to the Indian people to watch them. So if they secure live streaming rights of that, it would really help them. Considering all these things, the Indian market, the features and the strategies, if these are adopted, Netflix can really do well.
Roman or Anas, you can go ahead.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, so just slides, please. Next slide. Okay, so before to start, I will share some, exciting data about the Indian market. Based on 2020, India have some 2.6 million Netflix users, and 2021 it was 4.4 million. So there's a huge growth in terms of subscriber. But considering the overall, the Indian market in 2019, India having 600 million internet users. Uh, and the US, considering the US example, 25% of the internet users use Netflix. Okay, then they're the Netflix subscriber. And comparing with India, which in 2020 was only 5%. So there is a huge market gap for Netflix to grow, in India. It is in a research, it is anticipated that in 2025 the internet user in India will be around 1 billion. So in order to achieve the 100 million target, which is the one of the objective of the Netflix, they just need to grow by 10%. Other than that, I will talk about little the global subscribers. So from 2018 to 2021, the global subscriber increased from 139 million to 253 million, which based on these criteria and adjustment of 100 million subscriber, which we divided, that if India adopted such strategy, which Yapka talked about, so they can achieve those target in 5 years of time, which is, I think, a great opportunity for the Netflix. At the same time, you can see in the graph, from 2017 to 2021, there is to 2020, there is a great growth in the revenue. But keeping those, if those strategies are adopted, the Netflix can go very much higher and achieving those revenues. So I was talking about the global subscribers in 2000, which based on the previous data from 2018 to 2021. Adjustment of 100 million, they can increase the number of subscriber to 750 million, which I think is a great figure if they adopted such strategies which Yapka talked about. So this is from my side.
Alina, please, next slide, please.
Yeah, I am on the next slide. Is it visible?
Yeah, now it's visible. So, as
Okay.
Anas explained, the growth strategies, and on the basis of the growth strategies, we have forecasted the revenue and the gross profit figures. And on the same basis which the Yapka told about regarding the growth strategy, on the same strategy we have forecasted the Netflix free cash flows as well. The important component in the cash flow is the addition of the content asset, as obviously Netflix is the entertainment company, so its major asset would be its content. So despite having a huge amount of content asset on a yearly basis, Netflix, our model suggests that Netflix can generate internally cash flows from which it can uh, it can utilize its internally generated cash flow to grow in the future and obtain the 100 million subscriber from the India alone only. Moreover, on the average basis, Netflix is going to issue an equity of more than $120 million on average basis in order to cater the demand of the subscriber uh, in India market. So as you can see that the cash flows were negative, but it's moving in the right direction, and the trend is going increasing until 2026. It's reaching at the maximum. This is because we have selected the optimistic scenario for the Netflix. There could be many, but we have adopted the optimistic scenario in order to achieve this growth. So thank you. Alina, you can move forward.
Okay, so now we will be just concluding our presentation. So, all in all, given all the strategies, agility, and the things about Netflix, we can say that Netflix has the right tools. It is agile, it is creative, it has a brand image, and it has the required capital. Given this fact, India seems a very good choice as the next market because, as explained earlier, it has a huge potential since due to high population, diversified demographics, diversified people, diversified language. Secondly, all the support industry for a company like Netflix are boosting in India. So, internet service providers are in the growth stage. They are providing internet at a very low price to the consumers. That really facilitates the Netflix model of allowing consumers to stream videos, which has eventually led to the evolvement of SVOD market, which is the prime market for Netflix. So all in all, we can say that India is looking as a very promising market for revenue generation for Netflix. And if Netflix enters that market and creates a footprint, it could have a very huge amount of revenue from that market, and it can create a very strong global footprint in the Asia. So that's all from our sides. Thank you.
Thank you very much, group. Let's open the floor for questions. Asad Rafiq has raised hand. I don't know whether he wants to ask a question. I'm unmuting him in any case, but we're looking at questions in the questions dialog box for the group. Irfan Ali has also raised hand. Both of you are unmuted. You can unmute yourself and ask a question one by one. If your hand raised is for a question.
Can I go
Hello, can
first?
you hear me?
All right, let's go one by one. Yes, I can hear both of you.
Okay, Irfan, you go first.
Uh, uh, in third and fourth part, sorry, fourth and fifth part, it was a requirement for break-even analysis. There was nothing on break-even analysis there.
Agreed. There was
Okay.
a sort of data available of Netflix. That is why we couldn't able to, because it's the confidential data.
You should have some you should
Okay,
have some
okay.
assumption.
We do have
I
certain optimistic assumptions, and based on that we have already adjusted, based on the variable cost and fixed cost. We do have data for the average price per member, so we have adjusted those things while making this graph. So I hope if you require
okay,
There is
further
and
data, I can share it with you in email.
okay. The thing is, if is it Irfan who is asking the question? I believe.
yes, yes.
Okay, Irfan, and the
Yes.
other thing is that we have calculated the Netflix free cash flow. So by looking at the cash flow figure, you can see that we are break evening somewhere around 2022 and 2023, in between somewhere that. So obviously after breaking even, we were able to generate the positive cash flow. So we didn't mention it explicitly, but it actually formed the basis of our calculation.
They are investing $420 million in 2020 in content production. Do you think that it is the only cost they will incur? Every year they need to invest a handsome amount in the content development. You are thinking that 420 million investment in 1 year will be sufficient to for break even in 2025?
No,
It
no.
is not the right answer, because there are 31 other
We
competitors in
have
the
taken
Indian
the
market.
capex assumption.
Let me finish. Let me finish. Then you have full right to respond.
Yeah.
There are other 31
Okay.
competitors in Indian market. One of the biggest competitors are Reliance. Do you know what they have did with their competitors in internet market? Uh, you
So
need to
that's
think about the $420 million in every year. If we assume, then it is not easy to break even in 2025. Now you can respond.
okay. First of all, to answer your question, you talked about Reliance. That's the internet service provider. So we have already told that they should go in strategic alliance with the internet service provider, and then being in alliance with them, they should come up with packages that would facilitate internet, and as well as include for that package they will include some sort of Netflix subscription. So we are really not, we are somehow diluting some bit of competition over there. As far as content investment is talked about, yes, Netflix is investing a huge amount in 420 billion, but it would not be, making the
Million.
studios every year. It will be hiring people. And yes, we have taken capex assumption, like capex investment assumption, while calculating at free cash flows. Roman can enlighten you on that a bit more.
Yes, we have taken the assumptions, capex assumption as well. Or globally, it is in around, it was spending around 10 to 12 billion dollars. So we have on the higher side, we put the capex assumption, and which is 12 billion dollar each year. So every year, Netflix is going to invest 12 billion dollar based on the past trend and the future strategies. So we have assumed this, and on the basis of this, we have concluded this free cash flow.
Yes, Roman, can I can explain you. These $420 million are for content development. This is not capital expenditure. Content, they have to
So
produce dramas, serials, and movies.
Exactly,
okay,
I'm
I think
talking
I
about.
think we can move on. Irfan, thank you very much. Good questions. Let's give other participants an opportunity to ask questions as well, because running out of time. Asad Rafiq, can you please unmute and ask?
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, muffled voice, but we can hear you.
Sir, actually, I regret myself that I will not be able to present today with my colleagues because I went in a medical emergency and now I am in a bed rest, and somehow I did manage to attend the session on my cell phone.
That's all right. Okay, all right. That's all right. That's all right. Just
So,
attend. Just listen to the presentations. All right. Thank you,
so,
Pasu.
so, uh, I have just two. I have only two questions. First of
Go
all,
ahead.
the group just mentioned that I think it was Yabka. She just mentioned that India is a huge population. That's why Netflix is heavily investing there. As far as I know, and according to my limited knowledge, the biggest population country in this world is China. Why Netflix is not going to China? Okay, number one. And the number two question is, I know they have a great culture deck, like everyone can come up with a great idea, everyone have unlimited access to information. Now, my question is why they have built this great culture deck, like why everyone can come up with a great idea? I need the answer on these two questions.
Okay, first of all, the case study is for Bollywood, it is not for China. So we are specifically focusing on India because
No,
India is a very
no,
potential
case
market.
study. Let me. Case study is saying India, Netflix is relying on China heavily because of the population.
No, no,
Okay.
population. Look, it's not about population. It's about what they are targeting. China, they have a lot of media restrictions. If you know, do you know you cannot operate Facebook in China? They have their own private content. The government agencies are very specific about that. That's why they are targeting the Indian market because they see more potential.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay.
And secondly,
And the
Asad,
next
Let me
question.
you talk,
let
yeah,
me answer this.
just
The situation is that only certain countries have been licensed to stream Netflix content, and China is one of
Exactly.
them, who you know, which is creating sort of hurdles for the Netflix to adopt. So there's a, and India is having a diversity. They do have a lot of market for the internet streaming,
No,
right?
no,
As I
no.
said, 600 million people are using internet over there, and 300, almost 50%, they are doing a streaming thing. So based on that, you can say that the license things are easily available in the India.
okay,
Definitely.
Asad,
Guys,
It's
and
it's
just to
according
about
to my
answer,
knowledge, as far as
okay,
I,
uh,
this is my opinion. Why they are heavily investing in China, in India? Because
okay,
there is now a cold war between US and China. That's why they are not taking risk in going to China.
okay,
the China
Asad,
has
you answered
governmental
your question.
limitations. Yes, China
Okay,
has
Mm-hmm.
governmental
I'll,
limitations.
okay, I'll just answer, Asad. First of all, you yourself has
Mm-hmm.
answered your own question, like there is a political issues. Secondly, you are well aware that every political issue or these wars between countries, economic wars, really impact the business. So at this moment, Netflix is not seeking that market where it will risk. Secondly, in
Mm-hmm.
China people prefer Chinese content over everything else. So Netflix essentially wants its original English content also to be watched, which is being watched in India. Secondly, you asked this
Mm-hmm.
question about why not any other company could come up with great ideas. The thing is, it's not hard to come up with great ideas. It's hard to implement those
No, no, no,
ideas.
no, no. You got me wrong. You got me wrong. You got me wrong. I just
Okay,
said
can you repeat your
why
question? Yeah.
okay. Netflix has a great cultural deck. Okay, in which you
Yeah.
can come up with the great ideas. Or information is
Yes.
openly available to Netflix employees. I am asking why they develop this cultural deck. Why?
So that they could be
This
more
is
agile, more creative, more openness. Look, if you are in a company, even when you have a greater idea and you have people over top of you who shun your ideas, who doesn't allow you to implement them, then you cannot really put those ideas into implementation. To put ideas into implementation and to really take a lot out of it, it really needs people who are willing to go all ahead without any fear, to create this confidence
okay.
among individuals that yes, no matter what your idea is, good or bad, go ahead, let's see, let's watch how it will go, what it will give us. So
Okay.
that's
You see,
All right.
and
let me
and the second
let me
thing
add
Ceasefire,
and the second thing is
ceasefire, 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 ceasefire. Let me set the
So
rules
let
here.
me let me add something.
One person. Wait a second. Wait a second. I'm on your side. Don't worry. Listen, one person should only ask one question, not two questions, and not a nested question, right? So that others can get an opportunity to answer as well. And number two, presenters, you pick up the right person who's going to answer, okay? And just one person gives a very short answer, and that is in the interest of time. Have you ever seen in a huge conference too many people latching on, let me answer it? I mean, that doesn't happen, right? The very professional way is one person who has the answer, very carefully select that individual in the group who has the answer, and that person responds, okay? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, got it. Thank you for reminding.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm enjoying that, and that's why I'm letting it happen. But I mean, we've only spent about an hour, and this is the first presentation. It'd be unfair with the rest of the groups that did not give them enough time. So, one very short question from Muzaffar Hussain and Imran Majid. Short questions and short answers, please. Muzaffar, you go first.
Thank you, sir. Alina, I would like to ask you that you see India very promising in revenue generating for Netflix, but Netflix got popularity in the city areas where language is not barrier. But how it will be successful in rural areas where contents in local language are popular?
Okay. Muzaffar, right?
Brief answer.
Okay. So yeah, the thing is that we already said that Netflix will be making its content in local language. So when you will cut through that barrier with making the content in local language, you will be attractive to those people as well. You will be bringing the content in their language, so they will be willing to watch that content.
Okay, thank you.
That's all.
Imran, your turn. Imran Majid, sorry, man, let me unmute you. All right, Imran, try unmuting yourself. Please go
Yes,
on.
sir. It's not actually a question. I just wanted to highlight a certain things about the discussion about China and India. China being the biggest country in terms of population is a dream market for every product or service. So, but the thing is that China politically does not allows the Western content. Google is not allowed, Facebook is not allowed. They have their own Baidu and Weibo and things like that. And they also prefer, although they use iPhones but they also go for the majority population goes for Xiaomi and Oppo and their local brands. Same is the case for their vehicles as well. So China has been traditionally a market where they have a protectionist structure. With time, they opened up due to WTO, and in future, it's likely that big names like Facebook or other tech giants and product and service providers may have the opportunity to make inroads into China. And if that happens, that is a possibility that within a short time they can gain hundreds of millions of subscribers and customers in a matter of a single or few years.
Thank
So
you, Imran.
yeah,
I think you're answering Asad Rafiq's question, and I fully understand and appreciate your comment. Yes, China is a closed culture. It is not very open. Yes, they have a very loyalistic approach. I don't know if you call it protectionist, but it's a loyalistic approach. They're loyal to their country. They're loyal to their language and to their culture. So thank you very much, Imran. I think let's bring this presentation to an end now. My comments about the presentation. Um, I think excellent job. I would say in terms of producing slides. On analysis, I would give you an 8 of 10. On presentation, I would give you an 8 on 10. I understand that the few glitches that you faced were due to internet connectivity, and we can discount those. I think the coordination between team members were very good. just a little bit of uncomfort was when you've used slide transition or slide animation, and you would not see the full slide in one glance, and that was what was causing a bit of confusion within your group members as well. Questioning techniques, I think I could see enthusiasm. I could see all of you trying to answer questions, but it is not about reflecting your knowledge or reflecting your grip on the subject. The question answers very sensitive matter. It should be very carefully dealt with. Any little comment that you make in addition to what was required to answer the question, it can take you into a further deeper trouble. Okay, so it is always the best idea to only stick to what has been what has been asked, and do not go any further than that. Am I audible? I mean, Yapka has probably written that she can't hear anybody, but probably it's an issue on her side. So
Yes.
my suggestions for improvement would be questioning techniques or answering the questions, right? You don't have to be very defensive. Okay, you should be open to criticism, and that should reflect in your answers, and therefore but at the same time you should reflect on your content, your hard work that you've done, which I think you've done quite adequately. So excellent work. I would rate this presentation single notch and less than excellent. And for that, I think you deserve a huge round of applause. You've all done very good. The coordination between group members, I could clearly see it had been rehearsed, and that is what there are the different signs that show you that the group has really put an effort to come up to this level.
Thank
At the same time, I would like to appreciate the people who were asking questions. So I think we started with who was the first person who asked a question? I know Asad asked a question. I think who else had asked a question? Let me very quickly check the list. Irfan Ali had asked the question. I know that for a fact, and very good questions. Muzaffar had asked a question. Yes, Imran was not Imran. Imran Majid had asked a question. So I think very well, very good questions asked. Very well responded as well, but need to be a bit precise, focused, only stick to answering the question, and then just as you feel you've answered it, stop there and continue, move on to the next person. So I think very well done. You've set the bar high for the rest of the group members making the presentation. Your time management was a little bit of an issue as well, right? I think you were, while you rehearse the presentation, you also have to very carefully time yourself. Like I said, any content beyond 10 minutes would would make half the impact that was required. Okay, so I understand it's a lot of questions to be answered in 10 minutes, right? And that could have been an excuse for sort of not answering all the questions, or not going into the detail of have you done the payback analysis or not, etc. So I think 10 minutes is really short for such a long presentation, but we have to stick to it. Okay, thank you very much. Excellent job. I would definitely want an equally good presentation coming from the groups afterwards. But I think this group has really set the bar high for all others to follow. Feroz, can you now please do the ritual? Feroz will dismiss you people, and you will probably have to sign in again and become an attendee. Please stick on to the rest of the session and ask questions. I know you've done quite a lot of effort, and therefore you should get an opportunity to take your revenge from other groups as well. And I'm using the word revenge deliberately. So Feroz, please go on. Who's the next group?
Can I give some suggestions on the presentation as well?
Sure, Feroz, why not?
Yeah, I really liked the presentation. I felt that you all were prepared and confident. Your presentation was well structured and well connected. Your delivery was professional. Some things that could have been better was coordination, but we're using the digital medium, so we can oversee that. I felt that there was a lot of information which could have been infographed, but it was just disclosed during the presentation. You should have infographed the subscriber data, and there were a lot of other things that Roman and Hans mentioned, but I couldn't see any infographics for that as well. The only infographics for the revenue and the free cash flows. The free cash flows were a bit, in my opinion, over optimistic, because it has been in losses for quite a while, and it couldn't have been possible to just go into profit in just a single year. But if you guys have proper backed up data for that, that's fine. But I think that it was a bit over optimistic. One additional thing that you could have looked for was a macro environment analysis. Considering we are talking about entering into a new industry and new macro environment, that could have been a positive in your uh, presentation. Overall impressions were good. You guys were prepared for the answers, and you handled them correctly. And the last suggestion would be, when you're answering questions, only disclose the information that is relevant and not the information that could raise another question. Just disclose the information that is required.
Thank you very much, Feroz.
That's all
I think
from my side.
pertinent. Very pertinent. Tech Phantoms is next.
Yeah, the next group can raise their hand.
All right. So all the group members of Tech Phantoms, can you please raise your hand so they could be made presenters? In the meanwhile, Feroz, if you can dismiss the previous group. Okay, we have Mohammad Daniel, Sarah Batul, Mohammad Sajid Yahya, Abdul Wahab, and Irfan Ali.
Can we begin?
Yes, I believe. Who's going to be the presenter? I mean,
yeah,
slide deck?
You need to disclose who will be presenting the slide deck.
Basically, I'm going to start, and Danielle will be the first one, starting with how Netflix competed with agility.
No, but
who will be controlling the slides?
Danielle.
Okay.
All right, once again, the same instructions for all of you. Try switching on your camera if you've got good bandwidth. There's no harm in switching on the camera. Number two, other group members should stay on mute while the presentation is happening. Just unmute yourself on your turn, and good luck. Please keep a close watch on the time as well. Okay, over to you guys.
Representing the group Tech Phantoms, my group members are Danielle, Sajid Yahya, Abdul Wahab, Irfan Ali, and myself. Without a further delay, I would request Danielle to kindly please present on how Netflix competed with agility. Danielle, can you start, please?
All right. Hello, I'm Daniel, and I'm going to present how Netflix competing their competitors on agility. Last decade of 20th century was a golden era of many successful startups. And in 1997, a couple of entrepreneurs with a mindset to give consumers the right to watch the movies of their own choice at any time within very affordable cost launched a DVD rental service named Netflix, were already big competitors named Amazon and Walmart in the existing market. So how did Netflix compete them on agility? Step that gives Netflix a big success over to their competitors is the idea of subscription-based plans, initially launched at very low cost of $22 per month, and subscribers could rent unlimited movies at one at a time for unlimited period of time. And they got a big success near their distribution centers because the customers can get overnight delivery there. So by evaluating this early success of Netflix, the founder of Netflix thought they need a bigger name, big domain such as blockbuster.com, which at that time providing VCR tapes as movie rentals. They offered 49% of their stakes for $50 million to use the name Blockbuster.com for their online services, but Blockbuster immediately rejected that deal. Basically, Blockbuster was not able to project the change that was coming by the evolution of broadband internet at that time. Here Netflix compete their competitors by their focus, strategy, and sources of agility. In 2006, more than 50% of Americans have access to broadband internet. So Netflix launched a virtual player that could stream a drama or movie in real time, except to download it first. And they also introduced very cheap and customer-focused plans, which make them the best choice for the media houses and customers at that time. In 2010, Blockbuster filed bankruptcy and Netflix entered in the international market, which accelerated their subscriber acquisition, added nearly 40 million subs by the end of 2014 only in US. By learning from the bankruptcy of Blockbuster.com, Netflix decided to make their own content instead of relying on licensed content. They invest $100 million for their first production named House of Cards, released in 2013. Their corporate culture also helps them to compete their competitors on agility by avoiding restricted bureaucratic behavior, and there are no specific rules for employees, giving implies free mindset to apply their creative ideas and keeping successful ideas and learn from the mistakes.
Now, Sajid will present on the culture of Netflix.
Next slide, please. Okay. No rules in Netflix. Netflix executives were against unnecessary rules as it stifles creativity in the organization. Employees were recommended to exercise decision making at their own discretion. However, opinion of all was encouraged before making a decision. Secondly, failures were openly discussed in the organization by circulating memo throughout the Netflix. Aim was to fail fast, move on, but through learning from the mistakes. The other very important point was dream team matters at Netflix. At Netflix, there is no room for mediocre employees, and therefore only the best talented people are hired. Hastings believes that mediocre workers demotivate leaders, reduces efficiency in the organization, and ultimately give the impression that mediocrity is accepted at Netflix. To attract the best talent, employees were paid highest compensation that they would have get at Netflix competing firms. Next slide, please. There was a culture of freedom and responsibility. The culture at Netflix fosters independent decision making without top management oversight. Hastings prided himself by making few decisions as possible in a quarter. This freedom enables employees at Netflix to be more creative and innovative in their work at Netflix. Employees do take recommendations from their colleagues regarding a decision they want to take, but ultimately does not need anyone's approval before implementing those decisions. With this level of freedom in decision making, employees at Netflix were expected to take responsibility for delivering results and solving problems. There was also a culture of sharing information openly. At Netflix, transparency of information enabled employees to take decisions which are aligned with the organization's strategy and vision. Moreover, even the sensitive information regarding content production deals and number of new subscribers were openly shared at Netflix. Furthermore, the easy availability of information to Netflix employees promoted holistic understanding of Netflix business and challenged to them
resulting to solve those problems more efficiently. Thank you.
Now I will be presenting on Netflix entry into India. Next, please. Why did Netflix enter into India? Firstly, because it has a huge consumer base with the high population of about 1.4 billion and a lot of internet users, which is a must aspect for Netflix. Secondly, India became a very favorable market, what Reed Hastings called geo effect. Now, geo effect was basically a revolutionary step by Reliance Jio, which brought about a cultural change in digital content watching, and they offered the fastest speed internet for the first time at very cheap rates. Coupled with budget-friendly smartphones, stage was set, and Indian consumers started watching more of digital content like gaming, films, music, and TV shows. Coming towards Netflix debut in India, when Netflix launched itself in 2016, it offered all of its original content, some Hollywood movies, TV shows, with only little bit of Hollywood titles. It was 100, but wasn't enough for the Indian market. Mainly educated class responded to it, and because majority class lied in the smaller cities, which had a different taste than the smaller educated class. Talking about the geo effect, it led to a multiplier effect. India became a battleground in streaming wars, and many media companies, local and even international, entered the market considering the potential. So much so, back in 2012, there were only 9 video streaming platforms, which grew to 32 by 2018. Disney owned Hotstar led the pack by 129 million users by March 2019. Now, with many players in the industry, not all could stand out due to the Indian market being a different and a complex one because of its needs. What are the needs of the Indian market? Firstly, they prefer very low prices. It's a very sensitive, price-sensitive market, and rightly so because they have a very low per capita income. If we talk in monthly terms, it's probably $160 per month. And they have access to cheap cable TV rates, which shows them the right kind of content they look for, and that too at very cheap rates, less than $4 a month. Thirdly, because of specific content demand that they have, if we look at the market leader Hotstar, it's 80% viewing hours out of local TV shows and movies, and 20% of sports, which is also a very favorable area of watching for the Indian community. Lastly, Indians love to find free avenues, like they go towards shortcuts, and watching pirated content is a general norm. Can I have the next slide, please? Now, where does Netflix stand and what its position and struggle in India in the midst of all this? We will use Porter's 5 forces to understand it. Talking about the 5 forces, the first one being substitutes. This force is very high with many substitutes available. Many local established players like Hotstar are well established way before Netflix and understand the complex local demand well. Similarly, international players like Amazon Prime and Disney Plus entered market offering attractively lower prices and payment schemes with provision of 80% free content with ads and premium of rupees 999 yearly without ad content. Netflix, on the other hand, provides 2 times higher rate at the lowest subscription level. Talking about the buyer power, since there are a lot of options to the buyer, switching cost is low and the force is very high. Then the supplier power is a key factor. Content is key factor in India, and this force is thus very high. Indians prefer local content in their own language, and there are about 121 languages which prevail. Market leader Hotstar has edge of association with Star Network, content popular widely in the country, and that's one of the major reasons where Netflix is struggling as well. The rivalry force is also very high, being the competition being high, and the new entrance force is low because there are high barriers to entry. Competitors have exhausted all aspects of the market, leaving little for exploitation. Netflix establishment is hindered for the same reason, and they have to pump in a lot of resources to be at fair playing field. This shows this 5 forces, we conclude that Netflix is in quite a challenging position. And what are the struggles of Netflix? Firstly, poor pricing model. They cannot apply the same strategy for pricing as that in US, and that is what they were previously going into. Recently, last year in December, they have changed their strategy and they have lowered their prices, but mostly throughout their pattern was with the high level prices as in US. Lack of content. Majority Indians don't prefer to watch English content available on Netflix. Then thirdly, different types of Indian consumers is another struggle for them. Most of the content available on Netflix is liked by educated class only, whereas majority Indians live in smaller cities, as I previously mentioned too. Lack of piracy control. A lot of Netflix content is available free. So why should they subscribe for it? And lastly, poor marketing strategy. Netflix is yet to hit upon the right marketing strategy. For now, they're using hit and try. For example, last year introducing 100% free services for 2 days in a row, but they haven't been able to capture market because of using the right marketing strategies. Next, please. There was one more slide. Daniel, can you check what Netflix can do? There's one missing. I'm sorry for the interruption. There's a little issue here. It's after Netflix. Can you see it? Number 19.
Okay, just give me a second.
Sure. That's okay. You can just click in and you could go towards Wahab's after that.
Okay, just give me a second. It will be in here.
I think Daniel, this is causing an unnecessary interruption. If you can go to slide number 19.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, just click on it and I'll finish it off. It's okay if I can see it halfway. That's perfectly okay if you just click on it. Thank you. So in the midst of all this struggle and challenges, what can Netflix do to differentiate itself and not deviate? Firstly, immerse itself in the local market and get into partnerships with local media companies and distributors. This would also help them to understand the Indian market taste, which it is still struggling with. Yeah. Secondly, focus on creating the right content that the Indians want to watch. With large amounts of content, Netflix can differentiate from the content, from the crowd. Already they have started to work on it and they're investing heavily in this area. About $420 million have been invested by December 21. And thirdly, they could go into long-term contracts with local YouTubers and promote their content, which is quite popular in India, and get them on board through long-term contracts. Last slide, please, Nadia.
Yeah,
No, there's one more.
Oh.
Okay, I would just wrap it up here by adding 2 more suggestions that they could look into reducing prices by offering free content like their competitors are doing. And they could use sponsorships to cover their costs, because Indian market is already responding well with ads strategy. So Netflix might have to deviate from its global strategy, but I think they should look into what market is responding to. So that would be one suggestion. And another suggestion, deviation from their strategy, but it might work, is that they should offer product differentiation. Like at their basic level subscription levels, they should offer more devices so that it's more attractive to the Indian market. That's my part, and I would like Wahab to now reflect upon the cash flow projections. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Talking about the actual results and the forecast of the Netflix, we take about the actual results of the almost from the 2016 to 2020, and the Netflix is actually possible, make it possible to convert its free cash flows into positive in year 2020. And as we see the growth from the 2016 to the 20, in the different years, it's projecting the growth of almost 12% in the 2016, 11% in the 17, and the making the growth of the 10% in 19 and the 2020. So taking this subscribers increase ratio, I prorated these results to reflect about the cash flow for the next 5 years, make projections. So if Netflix continues the same trend of its progression and able to generate the free cash flows, it can easily target the 10% growth of the subscribers and easily finance all all of their needs for the funds and the producer content. So the avenues for the Netflix to produce the content and the finance its growth, there are the two mainly avenues. It can use its internal cash flows, which results into the organic growth, and that be more reliable. So on 21 or onwards, it can finance its growth by the organic by utilizing its internal cash flows, and it can also utilize one more option for the Indian market if it wants to spend morely. It can go for the listing on the local stocks as well. So it can generate the avenues for its growth. So that's it from my end. Irfan, you can start.
Danny, please shift to the next slide. Dreams do not work unless you do. In last part of my presentation, I'll elaborate the break-even analysis of Netflix globally as well as according to the Indian market. Currently, we have available with the year 2020, that is 30th December 2020 financial data. According to that data, they have 15 million subscribers globally. Average subscription per user annually is $115, which is roughly $10 a month. Total operating cost is $20 billion. Total revenue is $25 billion. Net profit is 4.3 billion. These are the global figures. By working on data mentioned earlier, break even is on 215 million subscribers at the rate of $95 annual subscription. That is roughly $8 per month. Currently, they are getting $2 per month extra over the break-even point globally. The situation is good overall in globally. From $285 per month to $10.74 per month, 2.85 to $10.74 per month. Now in India market, can you please move to the next slide? Usually Netflix do not share the countrywide data. However, according to the data available on internet, in India they have year-wise subscribers were 500,000 in 2017 and approximately 5.2 million subscribers in 2021. There is the rapid growth in Indian market. As per Reed Hastings, Netflix is expecting next 100 million subscribers from Indian market. Moreover, they have to plan to invest in content development amounting to $420 million in year 2020 versus 70 million in 2017. We have assumption that Netflix shall invest 420 million every year in the Indian market. For year 2020 and 2021, they have 4 types of packages for Indian market, ranging from $2.85 per month to $10.74 per month. We assume that classification or bifurcation of these subscribers shall be 60% from mobile users, 30% from basic plan, 8% and 2% for standard and premium plans respectively. Based on 4.4 million subscriber, it will take 21 months to recover $420 million for 2020 investment. Similarly, based on 5.2 million subscribers, it will take 18 months to recover the $420 million investment. However, they have revised the rates for all 4 packages as well in the next year, for the next year. Can you please shift to the next slide? In media industry, if we analyze the industry trends, we'll come to know that if a content, that is drama or a movie, is on air first time, most of the views are within first week or in first month. So Netflix need to recover its investment in less than 1 year time in order to remain profitable. By keeping in view the reduced prices as well, amount of investment and churn rates, that should be 15.23 million subscribers to recover the amount in almost 11 months. We have certain assumptions in this model that churn rate is not material which can be ignored. We have analyzed the data for churn rates. It is approximately 2 to 3%, which is quite good in telecom market, normally up to 5% churn rate is ignorable. Entire investment of 420 million is fixed, and there is no marginal cost. Number of subscribers are 60% mobile users, 30% basic package holders, and 8% standard and 2% premium subscribers. That's all from my part. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much. Are you all done? Is anybody left?
That's it.
No.
All right. Okay, so questions. And we'll have a very short stint for question answers. Questions? Somebody wants to raise hands? People have raised hand. Anas, Roman, okay. Anas, we'll begin with you. One question and no nested questions, please.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for the presentation. Actually, I just want to ask that at the start of the 6 digits program, we talk about the business canvas model. So can anyone from this group members summarize that what are the key activities that Netflix have adopted, and what were the channels that they have worked on, and what value proposition that they are currently talking about? So if you can just summarize, that would be great.
Okay, the presenters now, but of course you notice this is a very lengthy question, and I'm noticing how will you tackle it?
I
Okay,
think
so
I could answer this question.
okay, sure.
From Netflix, what having in the market as compared to their competitors. If you can see, as I have mentioned it in my presentation, the major sources that give them the boost are like broadband internet.
I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. There is some problem with your mic.
Daniel, distortion on your end. This is Daniel speaking.
I will complete it.
Or any other group member who wants to take an attempt in answering the question?
Okay, so if I can clarify as well, Anas, what you're asking is their application through the business canvas model. Like, what was the value proposition?
Yes, if you can just relate it to that, that would be great. We will be able to understand it better. You just summarize what are the key activities, what channels they are currently work on, and what are the value proposition. That's my question.
Okay, talking about the value proposition, mainly it is a hugely consumer ease based, basically, where they want to show content without ads. This is what their value proposition is mainly. Like, you could just binge watch. And secondly, their key partners being the online streaming services providers, which would be the internet, mainly the internet providers, as I would call them. And last, you asked about the channels part. Yeah, so their medium is through internet, as I understand. So I hope I can satisfy you with that.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have a long list of people that are going to ask questions. Alina, you're going next. Alina Seher.
Am I audible?
Yes, Alina,
Hello,
please go on.
am I audible?
Alina, go on, please.
Okay, so they have mentioned Yes, they have mentioned three different sets of pricing for plans. So what I want to ask that how they will divide India as a market in which for different plans, like how will be they targeting their customer base? Because you cannot give the same set of services in each plan. It has to be differentiated. So what have you thought? Like what will be the key differentiation points in each plan?
Okay, Alina, if this is something I mentioned as well in my last slide, which wasn't available for you guys to view, but that was one of the suggestions how to differentiate. Considering the Indian market, it is highly suggested that it's a challenge for Netflix to lower their prices, considering what they want to offer and how they have established themselves globally as well. What they can do is that with with like basic and the standard level, they should increase the number of devices they allow viewership on. So I think that would be a key differentiation point for them in India.
Very well
Okay,
said.
thank you. Okay, all right. So moving on to Aish. Aish, I'm unmuting you. Please unmute yourself. Ask your question. Alina, you could lower your hand and put yourself back on mute.
Am I audible to you?
Aish, yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, good evening to you all. This is not a question, actually. Whatever the things that previously discussed to the value proposition, I feel that at India, Netflix going to say they prefer introducing video streaming in their own languages to the different set of people in India. That would be a value proposition from their point of view. Thank you.
Can I clarify if that was a question or a comment?
It's a comment. Adding to the question raised by someone regarding the value proposition.
Thank you. Sure. Thank you.
Okay, and Roman Salim, you're the last person to ask a question, after which we will conclude. Your audio isn't clear. We can't hear you. We can't understand what you're trying to say. So I think we'll have to skip this question. Feroz, can I ask you to come in and comment about the presentation? Feroz.
Hello.
Yes, you're unmuted now.
Okay. First impressions, it was quite lengthy, well covered. You guys covered all the areas for the presentation, but what I felt was there were a lot of animations instead of infographics. There was information. The financial information was like it was a lot to digest for the eyes and the ears. It could have been better if you guys could have presented the information in infographics. You guys kind of forgot about the time management, uh, and overall it could have been a quite short presentation. You could have covered only the areas which are relevant. I felt I felt at times there were information that could have been excluded, but you guys decided to keep that in, and these are just sort of my suggestions. You guys got a lot into small aspects which could have been overseen.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll be more supportive and encouraging. Feroz is a big critique. Of course, he's a he's a technical. He's technically more sort of inclined as well. In my opinion, the presentation was pretty good. Time management, of course, was a bit of an issue, but considering we're going to be a bit lax with time management, I think you've picked up the message right. You're answering the questions in the kind of detail that was required. You were not jumping in to answer questions. The presentation was, um, you know, only one little observation, that is the presentation was not homogeneous. I saw, yes, it was, I could notice adequate use of infographics, but it was one slide in between where there were bullet points and text written, and the presenter was reading from the screen. So it gave me an indication that probably you all prepared your presentation separately and then just put it together without sort of gelling that content in. The best way to, if people are working in, in a group, if people are working on different parts of the presentation, the best way is to, have a discussion, agree on the tone and the storyline. Okay. Agree on what to avoid and what to include. I think had that bit not been there, I would have rated the presentation as near excellent. But that sort of brings you people a notch lower than the previous group. Otherwise, I think coordination-wise, fantastic. Delivery, fantastic. 10 on 10 for delivery. I I would say a very tough competition, with the previous group, and definitely difficult one to be placed above or below. But I think fantastic work. I'm really happy you've gone into the detail. You've gone into you mentioned you use good figures and analytics to explain your point of view also. So I think technically also a very strong presentation, and so I think fantastic. So a round of applause for you people as well. Excellent job. Thank you very much, Feroz. Most welcome.
Thank you so much, sir.
Excellent. I know Feroz and I will have to sit down together to evaluate or rank the presentations, but we're going to do that together on Monday. It's not going to be an easy job for us. So Feroz, can we do the next group now? I think the next group was next click. Yeah, next click. And guys, we're running out of time, so I'll appreciate if the members of Next Click, the group members have already raised their hands. So Feroz, you can very quickly pick them up. And who is going to be the person managing the slide deck? Please name that individual. And please also, be very careful about the time. Okay. Good luck.
Can you guys confirm if I've added all of them?
Yes, we can hear. I will present the slides.
Okay.
That's Muzaffar, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it visible?
Now coming up.
Is it visible now?
Yes.
Yes, it's just showing a ribbon at the bottom. That's the silent
Okay,
side.
that's fine. Yeah. I guess all of our members are available. So first of all, I would like to good evening, everyone. Uh, I would like to thank SCCA to arrange such a resourceful event for us. And a little bit introduction, our group name is NextClick, and today we are going to present the task given to us in connection to business case on Netflix. Basically, we will need to fulfill 5 objectives that we can see. And number 1 and 3 objective will be presented by Nipa Hazra, as we lose one of our team member, Wakas. He could not join due to COVID issue, and he gave us the opportunity to test the sudden change and show agility like Netflix to fix this issue. Anyway, we pray for Wakas' speedy recovery. Okay, next, I would like to first of all, I would like to go for objective 2, and Husnain Mahmood will present this. Husnain, please, over to you.
Thank you, Muzaffar. Can you please share the slide?
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Netflix Culture Deck. It has been viewed by over 15 million times by June 2018. So it's very famous. As per my knowledge and my point of view, the culture is very important for any organization. And Netflix has been able to pioneer the global market by aligning their culture and day-to-day operation and keeping these both things together. They have always preferred people over process, and they have made sure that in every routine they adopt this culture. Their values consist of 5 main elements: dream team, transparency, avoid rules, candid to one another, freedom and responsibility. Well, everyone may not agree with the dream team, but this dream team have actually worked quite fantastically for themselves. They have been able to maintain a team which possesses the strong productivity and effective communication. They have lived up to this stated value. Similarly, their team are very transparent. They always encourage the openness, and there are no rules in their culture. In order to how they are answer the question how they are living up to their stated values, the CEO Reed Hastings just fired their head of communication over racial slur remarks in the board meetings. So they endorse their cultural values through the firing of head of communication. So to move forward in Indian market, if they can continue this strategy of and the strategy of getting themselves totally aligned with their core values and does not compromise, they may have a significant chance to gain this market, significant market share in Indian market. But I would suggest that if they can adopt some flexibilities in the values, they may capture the market more quickly rather than just having to wait for some time. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Husnain, for your presentation. Next, I would like to request Nipa Hazra to present the objective number 3. Please, Nipa Hazra, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to present the learning objective number 3. So I would say getting success and reaching its goal of achieving 100 million subscribers from Indian market. The ways Netflix can adapt to the needs of the Indian market, those we have pointed out by 4 options. Like first of all, quality full dubbing, local production house, promotional packages, and joint venture. So if I go through, talk about the joint venture. Next, please. Yes. Muzaffar, next one, please.
Next one is running actually. Is it visible?
Okay. So yes, let's start with the quality full dubbing. So dubbing is more important issues at the moment for getting attracted from more varieties or dimensional customers from the market. It's not only the Indian market, from anywhere else. So Indian market, in this competitive market, Indian market will be very dynamic, and as varieties of people lives in India, like 28 to 30 states in there, and about 121 languages. So dubbing issues is to be more important for Netflix. If they can ensure the qualityful dubbing with the voice, proper voice recording, so it will help them to get more people to get subscriber in. Local production house, so we know they will do it by 2020-22 by June. So still they haven't got established the one, so which will help them to get attracted the local people more, because if they can establish own production house in India considering local artists, so which will be more global focus as well. And if they put the languages including English, we know because 30% of English speaker in Indian market, so they can it will be more attracted as well. Though some of them competitor rivals also use it for the English, they are bringing the content as well, so it will more Netflix can do it properly. Even they have already have the experience in this industry, so if they keep continue with that, so it will bring them more into adapted the Indian market and being more popular as well. So let's start with the joint venture. So there are quite a few opportunities for the joint venture, so I will explain only one or two in it. Actually, there is no possible as they are more centralized organizations, so they don't like to go for the merger or acquisitions, so it will be better fit for the joint venture. You know, in Indian market there is the Airtel, which don't provide the service with the Netflix, but they have the other rival organizations to cooperate with. So if Netflix can go with the joint venture with Airtel, which is the giant telecommunication industry in telecommunication in Indian market, so they will attract more customer as well. And prepaid and postpaid, there are two different SIMs in available, and though any others. So it is more popular with the postpaid SIM with the Netflix. But if they bring opportunities for the prepaid SIM users, so it will lucrative for the market as well. So promotional packages, if I say, there are quite a few. So considering the Indian market where the price sensitive issues, so if we analyze the sensitivity in Indian market, so even a single penny can change a loss. So if they brings the joint venture with the Airtel in a telecommunication, and if they go through with it, have chances to go through, so 50%, if they provide the 50% rate with the mobile user or any other broadband user, so what they can get more subscriber as well. And changing pricing strategy with the price sensitive market with a monthly or yearly package can change a lot. Where we have found like rivalry, they actually give the very little with very little amount with, and they can get lots of subscriber as well. So if they change a little bit, so it will more subscriber will be added into the Netflix. So one more things, like actually in the mobile apps, they actually provide the quality standard definition. definition they actually provide. If they change it to the high definition, so it will change a lot to the mobile user as well. So they can, so more subscriber can, Netflix can attract from the mobile users, where there is quite a lot of attractive market. Mobile user is more in the Indian market. So I think that's all from my side. Thank you, Muzaffar.
Thank you, Nipa, for your presentation. Next objective regarding funding growth, and this will present Umar Ehsan. Umar Ehsan, please take the floor.
Hello everyone, I hope everyone can hear me. So moving forward to the objective number 4, which was the calculation of the historical growth of the free cash flows, and then the calculation of the projected cash flows in the future. So we will start from how the Netflix defines the free cash flows. So it's mentioned in their financial statements that Netflix defines the free cash flows as the cash provided by the operating and investing activities. So there's another one very important line which is written in their financial statement, that these free cash flows are not to be, as these are the non-GAAP financial measures, and these should not be considered in isolation for any kind of decision making. So the methodology used for the estimate, there are basically two methodologies for calculating the free cash flows. One is called free cash flows to firm method, and the other one is free cash flows to equity method. So in our case study, we have used the free cash flows to firm method, and then we have used the historical growth model to use the growth rate. And a very important assumption, which is I know it would be very optimistic and it would be very difficult to digest, but we had to take this assumption that the additions to the streaming content assets and their resulting amortization is not considered because it requires the upfront payments and it causes the negative cash flows. So if we assume this, we take this assumption and we have calculated the figures. If we move forward to the figures, so we have used the basic equation, the very standard equation that we started from the from taking. We have covered the 4 years, that is 2017 to 2020, and then we have projected the figure of free cash flows for 21. So we have taken the profit after tax, and then we have added back the non-cash items, which is obviously depreciation and amortization and other non-cash items. And then we have added back the interest. So this is the difference, that the free cash flows to equity method says that interest is not to be added back. But in free cash flows to firm method, we add back the interest expense. So then we have added, we have deducted the additional investments in non-current assets and the working capital, and we got the free cash flows. Then we have used the same historic growth model to ascertain the percentage of growth in the cash flows, which is obviously 71 to 96, 37% in 2020. And then we have projected the future growth rate, which is 66%. So that's all for their cash flows. So I would like to hand over to Muzaffar. Muzaffar, please go ahead.
Thank you, Omar, for your presentation. Okay. Next objective, where I will present the next objective, that is objective 5. This objective requires me to analyze Netflix break-even point, considering average price, number of subscription, churn rate, etc. Normally, to calculate B point, at first we need to analyze the cost behavior with level of activity and categorize them as variable and fixed cost. But in the case of Netflix, as per their FS, their related costs are totally fixed cost, as they sign for multi-years contract and they need to pay no matter whether customers subscribe or not. So they are basically overhead. So if we look at this overhead very closely, we can see that this overhead can be categorized more broadly in 4 categories. That is production overhead, that is the a big part of this cost, and then the other part of this. And we can, in percentile basis, we can see that the production overhead consists 71% of the total cost, and marketing consists 15%, and technology and development 99%, and general and administrative 5%. If we see what consists of that cost, that is production overhead, that is 74.5 per subscription. It costs 74.5 per subscription. It's basically consists of payroll, obtaining right to music, deals with talent, third-party licensing, cloud computing costs, payment processing fee, etc. If we consider marketing, is basically advertising expenses, marketing partners, and payroll. Technology part, here testing, maintaining, and modifying user interface, streaming, delivery technology and infrastructure, computer hardware and software, and payroll. And the final part, that is general and administrative. This consists professional fees, general corporate expenses, and payroll. So first of all, I analyze the break-even point that is available in the historically, and I try to develop a model. Based on that, I later show a forecasted break-even point as well. So if we calculate the historically, we see the historical break-even point, we will see that their total fixed cost, that is, you can see the brown line is their total fixed cost. As there is no variable cost, we can't see any variable line here. Total cost is fully fixed, and their revenue crossed here. We can see that is the intersection, and we know break-even point is here basically. So if we see the unit, it is 145 million subscription required for Netflix to be show them as break-even, and it's in revenue term, it is $17,552 million. So as actual revenue was $20,157 million, so we can see the margin of safety here. So for 2019, their margin of safety was in terms of unit 22 million subscription they have got over their break-even point, and margin of safety cross the line in terms of revenue is 2,604 million. In percentile, we can say their margin of safety is 13%. Later, I would like to show the forecasted break-even, as we predict the growth 17.6% historical growth, and we can predict subscription 196 million based on this 17.6% growth, and predicted sales revenue would be $23,705 million. But we also consider the churn rate that represent the number of customers that will not subscribe even they were subscribed in the past. So if we consider this churn rate, our predicted subscription will be reduced to 193 million in terms of subscription, and revenue will also be reduced to be $23,230 million. If we plot this data into chart, it will look like this, and in that case the intersection will go little bit forward in the right side, that is here. And now we can see the break-even point will be the same, no doubt about this, but the margin of safety will be bigger now, because actual revenue has increased from $20,000 million to $23,230 million. So margin of safety ultimately increase, and it will be 47 million in terms of unit, $5,678 million, and in percentage it will be 24% from 13%. That's for my part. I will request Nipa Hazra to present the objective 1 that we left for discuss here. Nipa Hazra, please take over the floor.
Thank you again for giving me a chance. So I'm going to explain the objectives number 1. So Netflix sources of agility. So understanding the new technology, paradigm and shifting of needs of consumers. Actually, what we understand by the agility is to move quickly and easily with creativity and getting more customers as subscriber for Netflix. So they started from the DVD subscription and they turned into the streaming video on demand. And secondly, I will say the adopting disruptive media models to over the top business models. They started from the one place and they went to the top place. So national broadcaster versus the great range of TV series and movies. So they focused actually with how the Netflix came into success with this TV series and movies with originality and data analysis by the actually from what their customer used to do, what they used to follow, and how they used to consume the data. So with that analysis, they brings us success as well. So what they actually got with the previously, so that's also reflect that the cultural issues as well, because from the error they actually brings to they learn from the error and they get to know what actually to be done with this. So that's agility and cultural issues bring them more focused, and that's bring them success as well at the Netflix, and they become a global actually the company in the this industry. They become very popular as well, not only in USA, in about many other countries in the world. So content fragments and using the many devices, so they can they give facilities with the users to get more into it with the multiple platforms and devices, and corporate cultures with the memo based culture as well. So they get what I said actually from the and efficiency is more important as well, so which we have already discussed in the cultural issues. So all those things with the agility and cultural issues actually brings the Netflix from the DVD to the SVOD. So this is the basically the lots of change we have found from the Netflix. So actually what we will say at the conclusion parts from the agility to our fund growth. So I would say this is lots of changes from the starting to this by the 24 years times. So it took time, but still there is lots to go for the Netflix. So we expect the success. Maybe we will see lots of changes of Netflix. Thank you from my side. Thank you all.
Thank you, Nipa. Especially you need to prepare for this slide as we at the last moment lost our useful member, Wakas. Thank you very much. Thank you, Harun sir, for giving us the floor.
Thank you very much. Very well done. Let's look at questions. I hope the presenter group is ready for the questions now. Yes, questions for next click. Okay. Zahra is saying the requirement was to produce approximately 8 slides. I know, I think every group has gone over this requirement, but we're looking at questions. So yes, we have Anas and Alina, they both raised hands. They're unmuting both of them. Yes, Anas, can you go first?
Sure. In the case study, if you see in 2019, the free cash flow was 3.3 billion negative. And if you see in these slides, it shows 25, which is, by some 2.5 billion positive. So can someone explain this? From where this figure came?
Okay, I would like to request Umar Ehsan to answer this question, and thank you for your point. I would like to open the slide as well for clarity.
Yes, thank you for the question, Anas. You're asking that in 2019. So, Anas, if you can see that I have taken an assumption that the amortization and the investments in the online streaming content assets, I have not considered it. So that was the major assumption. I know it's difficult to digest. So I have taken that assumption. I just didn't pick the free cash flows figures already published in the statement. So I have calculated it with a very standard format of calculating the free cash flows to firm, which is the equation in front of you. So that's why the figure is not reconciled with the published financial statements.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Anas.
Okay, Alina, your turn.
Okay, you people have estimated a revenue from an India market. I just want to know that what is the subscription rate per subscriber you have assumed?
Okay, I think it's also, I would like to request Umar Ehsan to answer this. I can partly answer this question as well because I need to mm, calculate the average subscription rate as well in part of calculating this break-even point. But first, I would like to Umar Hassan to answer this part.
Yes, Muzaffar, can you please go to objective number 5 slides?
I think it's 4, right?
Yeah. Yes, the question is basically about no, it's the last slide, I think. The question is about what rate we have used for calculating the revenue from Indian market. So I think we have used the growth rate of 17.6 to estimate the future number of subscription.
No, yeah, Umar, sorry to cut you off. I'm just asking that at what rate per person subscription will be given in the Indian market? Like for how much dollars an individual
Yeah,
can subscribe to Netflix?
subscription rate. Yes.
Muzaffar, it's your slide. Please go to the last slide, please, where the 17.6% growth was given.
Now that was the growth, but she is asking about
You're asking about
the
this amount, subscription amount.
So I think
Calculate,
Elena,
please.
better we will later try to answer this question, and we will bring the answer with you. We'll share.
Yes, sure,
Okay,
Alina. We
thank
will
you.
be in touch with you. We will be in touch with you, and we will definitely answer your query.
Okay, thank you so much.
Great, thank you very much.
Can,
Any other questions in the questions dialog box? None. So, all right, Feroz, your comments?
Okay, I was a bit harsh on the last group, so I'll try to.
Thank you very much, Feroz.
Okay,
Now you have to do justice with everyone now. So you be harsh with everyone. I'll do
sure.
the patching up myself, right?
Yeah, sure. But if I have to be honest, I liked the connection between the key activities that they have covered in this presentation. I didn't see that in the previous two presentations. I was quite impressed how they covered the key activities which are required to intervene in this specific market. Uh, rest, the coordination was very good between all the participants, even though one of the participants backed off, but they coordinated quite well. Uh, the infographics at the start were quite informative. Like there was a lot of information on the screen. In my opinion, when you are presenting to audience, you should always assume that the audience is not interested in a lot of numbers, and they just want the point that was covered by Muzaffar when he started presenting the numbers. He covered the specific points. He mentioned that the growth rate of 17% is assumed, and if the chunk rate falls to 2%, the revenue would fall by $3 million. I like that slide, but when Umar Ehsan was presenting, there was a lot of information, and it gets quite confusing and boring for the audience. So it is my recommendation to keep it to the point and only present the relevant information. But my overall impressions were quite good with your presentation. I liked your presentation. It could have been visually more pleasing, but it was good.
Now you're being diplomatic with words, Feroz. All right. Um, I think excellent work. I mean, coordination impeccable. I like the way Muzaffar took the role of a moderator, inviting a person in, handing over, taking over. I think that was very, very seamless. I really liked it. However, I noticed that the bottom at the ribbon, the names of the presenters were a little mixed up. So I think it was a slide to be presented by Hasnain Mahmood and Nipa was presenting, but it was meant to be presented by someone else. But I don't know, there was a bit of a mix up, but that's one thing. I think the presentation was very interesting. I also liked the way Muzaffar presented the graph, presented the break even that he calculated. I think that was interesting. Um, who gave this idea of slide transitions and this honeycomb effect?
Yes, it was Muzaffar.
So if you go back to what Ali Ashraf had said, I mean, no spiral effects, no rotating texts. Keep it simple, right? Transition, if at all you have to use it, it should be dim out and and the slide should just appear. That's all. I mean, don't need to do anything more than that. Okay, it would have been very, very professional because you didn't realize, Muzaffar, your computer probably was working fantastic, but every time there used to be animation on the screen, my screen would freeze and I would see, jittery text coming in. So the effect was not visible. And in any case, I think the honeycomb effect and the spiral effects were not professional. If you just remove that, I think your presentation is spot on and impeccable. Your study, your depth of the case study, the case study was very good. The way you answered Alina's question, Alina, excellent question. And again, who's the other person who asked the question? Anas. I think good questioning, and I like that. I know how the rebuttal group, the defense, is holding on to their questions because of my preconditions, and that is only because of our time constraint. But I think this is exactly how professionals present and do their questioning. Exactly spot on. And I'm so pleased. If I have to make a statement here, the way you people are doing it, I mean, you're doing it much more professionally as compared to the members who've presented yesterday. And, yesterday when I was having a conversation with Feroz, we anticipated this. We said, I know for a fact the future members are going to do it better than the members. And spot on. I think that's exactly what has happened, which is something where both of us anticipated. So, a huge thumbs up to all of you. I think you've done excellent. And I'm so happy that, I mean, to see your learning, to see the improvement that you people have made, to see, the implementation of learning. I think this is impeccable. And the biggest reward for ACCA, for me, in doing all this is to see the improvement, to see the professionalism that you people are showing or demonstrating. Excellent. Thank you very much. And a round of applause for this group as well. And I think the next one is the last group now. You can take a bow and Feroz, if you can dismiss.
Sure.
Okay, the next group was Zara, right? Zara Azam. So Iman, Rashid, Alina, if you can lower your hand. Yeah, thank you. Iman and Zara Azam. Any other member in this group? Zara, any other member? You can unmute yourself and respond. Only two in the
We
world.
have added Zara, Nadeem, and Iman in this group. I think you three are the group members for creative.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
there were
so
more, but
Yes, Sarah, go on. Or
there were
Iman.
more, but Iman will elaborate on that. In the
Okay.
meanwhile, Feroz, can you? There will be two names under two titles with my name. Can you give the presenter option to the other one, because I think the PC one is different. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Iman, you can go ahead.
okay, Zara, please start the slideshow. Assalamualaikum
Started.
everyone. My name is Iman. Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Iman Rashid and I am from Group Creatives. My team members presenting with me are Zara Azam and Nadeem Anjum. There were two other members, but due to some personal reasons, they backed out. Well, for this presentation, we tried to reflect concepts taught by Sir Ali Ashraf in our presentation. The topic of our presentation is Netflix goes to Bollywood. Now let's talk about Netflix competing agility first. What are the main sources of agility that help thrive Netflix quickly and in order to adapt the changes to become #1 online streaming video business? Well, it is the amount of resources that Netflix had invested into its business as compared to its competitors. Netflix had invested its cash resources in order to stream original content such as House of Cards and many more, thus grabbing users' attention. Similarly, Netflix uses IPO and well-known reputation to thrive into the international market. Lastly, but not the least, the main source of Netflix agility was its assets. Netflix invested about $1.5 billion on technological assets to enhance the user's experience. Now, what we need to understand over here is that Netflix agility is quietly greatly linked with Netflix focus strategy. Netflix believes in enhancing user experience. Well, therefore, Netflix had carefully strategized its strategy agility with its focus strategy. Netflix has perfectly pulled the perfect balance of intuition and analytics during production so that they know that what are the shows that are going to be successful, hence only focusing on content that is not related to pilot episodes only. Similarly, Netflix has focused on streaming only on video streaming business as compared to its competitors who were diversifying their portfolios into various dimensions such as sports and advertisement as well. Lastly, as previously mentioned, Netflix produced original content. Netflix spent billions of dollars to make sure it produces content that is exclusively unique for its consumers and customers. Zara, next slide, please. Okay. Now, what we have understood from the previous slide is that Netflix has greatly linked its agility with its focus strategy, and this has helped Netflix to gain an entry into the Indian market. Netflix learned a lot of new things during its entry into the Indian market. Netflix had to compete with several giants that include Z5, NLT Village, Hotstar, and many more. However, Netflix, with again due to strategic agility, made sure that it captures Indian market of about Indian market share. Netflix made sure that it is compatible with its customers' need. Netflix was very quick to learn that a large chunk of Indian consumers are actually dependent on mobile devices. Thus, they decided to reach these consumers by launching their mobile-only subscription plan of about $2.85 per month. Secondly, to further penetrate in the Indian market, Netflix has planned to expand its portfolio by including content in its regional languages. They focused on quality dubbing of regional languages, consideration of broadcasting live sports, and furthermore competitive pricing plans are in process. Lastly, Netflix mergers and acquisitions with other telecommunication services can help Netflix become Bollywood before Bollywood becomes Netflix. Over to you, Zara.
Thank you, Iman. Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Zahra Azam, and now I'm going to present the slides on corporate culture. So the corporate culture of Netflix is divided into major 5 categories, and we can see that Netflix is not a rule-based organization; it's a principle-based organization. And we can see that from the first infographic over here, no rules, or in other words, we can say avoid rules. I'm sorry, but I'm hearing some kind of disturbance if there is someone's microphone open. Can they close it? All right. So since I said that Netflix is a principle-based organization, there was a very interesting video that I saw about Reed Hastings, and he was saying that we only have a 5-word key principle, and that's act in Netflix's best interest. That makes things very easy because you don't have to memorize rules to work in Netflix. There is just one principle you have to follow. He further elaborated on in the video that they don't have any vacation policies, they don't have any expense policies. You spend as you think appropriately. So you can see that they are trying to avoid micromanagement this way. The next infographic refers to the freedom and responsibility. This is very interesting because most organizations don't really go towards opting this option. So in freedom, there is unilateral decision making. They avoid bureaucratic systems, and that's to quick their decision making, and they also avoid line managers' approvals as much as possible. Next, we have the dream team, and you can see a very creative infographic over here, and that refers to new ideas, and they are always welcomed by Netflix, and almost all employees are expected to give new ideas and get them assessed by peers, and those ideas are then further implemented, and then the peers discuss those ideas. If they fail, they discuss the failure. And one more thing I heard in the video of Reed Hastings, he said that his goal is to make failure discussion very comfortable, so that subordinates can communicate comfortably about failures with their managers, with their leaders. Even Reed Hastings himself, he wanted his subordinates to discuss failure with him. The next one is peer assessment. And in the peer assessment, we need to I'm sorry, I mixed up two things. Let's go to the transparency and being open. So over here it describes that we need to open the books. We need to share the information with the employees inside the company, and we need to share the information so employees can make a better decision making and for a broader understanding of the organization for them. Next, we have the free cash flow analysis for the historical part. And I'm going to discuss this. For example, we all know how to calculate the free cash flow, so we're not going to go into that, but we're going to go into the facts part over here. We can see that in 2019, there was a negative 3 million free cash flow that turned into a positive in 2020, which again turned back into a negative in 2021. So why did that happen? Why did it turn back to negative in 2021? Well, in the reports generated in the financial report, they stated that this was because of the acquisition that they were trying to get into with a Roald Dahl story company, and they had free cash flow in the quarter ended in the year 2021. So they used that to finance that acquisition, which is not common since Netflix does not go very willingly into acquisitions. Next, we have the future forecast facts about the forecast free cash flow and facts about how they are going to fund um, their future operations. Netflix made announcements that they aim to grow their operating profit and their net income in 2022, and they are basing this fact on their heavy success of original content. And they have stated that they are expecting a positive free cash flow in 2022. Finally, after like a decade, last time they had a positive free cash flow was in 2011, in which year they in that year they issued a debt finance for the first time. So after that, they were facing with negative free cash flow. But in 2022, they are finally expecting to have a positive free cash flow. How they are going to use this positive free cash flow? They are going to use that to repay debtors. And they have set a benchmark for a target value for their gross debt. They want it to be between 10 to 15 billion, and right now they stand at 15.5, so they are very close to reaching that benchmark. Next, they're going to buy back their shares, and they're already set to launch this scheme for a 5 billion authorization scheme. They're going to buy back those shares, and finally the excess free cash will be used to reinvest in their core business and fund new growth opportunities, for example gaming, and they're also going to go for selective acquisitions. With all of this investment, there's just one concern: how they are going to repay their debtors. At the same time, they're going to produce original content. That's the concern many journalists are asking Netflix. So that's it from my side. I'd like to hand over to Nadeem Anjum now.
Thank you, Zara. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm discuss about the break-even analysis. Uh, I'm just pick this data from the historic. Future data is not available, so I'm using the historic data. Here, everyone know about about how to calculate the break-even. So I just put the formula over there, and I'm going to elaborate some fixed cost of Netflix based on the historic data, 52 396 millions, and average revenue per subscriber is 14.7 million according to their plan. So and average contributions, I just calculate it's 10.89 dollar. So when I just put into the formula, I just withdraw the subscribers like 401 million, which is the break even of the Netflix. And in term of revenue, the Netflix need 59224 millions to meet their break even point, to meet their cost. These are the all the data I just calculate from historic figures, in which I just assume that some of the cost like marketing cost, technology and development cost, general and administrative cost, and interest expenses are the variable cost, except these costs are other than these costs are the fixed cost. So these are on my assumptions, because I didn't determine about the fixed cost and variable cost. Most of the costs are relevant to the fixed cost. So I just figure out that these costs are the variable cost. Other than these costs are fixed costs. So based on these costs, I just calculate the break-even analysis. So that's it. Please take the control.
Thank you, Nadeem. That's it from our side. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Let's look at questions. And we have Muzaffar ready with questions, and Irfan, and Moaz, Sohail, and Daniel. So Moaz probably hasn't had a chance to ask a question. I'm going to unmute him first, and then we'll go to other people who are asking questions. Yes, Moaz, Sohail.
Yeah, can you please hear my voice?
Yes, we can. Please go on.
Yes, basically, I just don't want to ask the question, but share my comment. It was one of the best presentation far I've seen. I just want to tell.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's go to questions first. And Moaz, I'm going to come back to you to ask why did you make the comment. Mohammed Daniel, in fact, let's go to Muzaffar Hussain first. Let's go sequential. Yes, Muzaffar.
Okay, thank you, sir. I would like to question about the break-even point part. Please, would you please go to that slide where the break-even is calculated? Here, we can see that average contribution per subscriber, average revenue per subscriber is calculated. The data used here, where it actually come from? Is it from 2019?
Zafar, I just took this data in 2020 balance sheet, which is available on September 2021. I just add up 3 months on basis of these, basis of the previous growth. So I come to the final figures. So on the base of 21 December data, I assume I calculate these this break-even point.
Okay, that's why I'm asking, because for 2019 the data is completely different, I guess, because I calculate the same average revenue. Thank you.
So you've used extrapolation, right? So you extrapolated the growth and calculated the average revenue per subscriber for the entire year. All right, next question. Yeah. Irfan Ali.
I have a question. You have calculated break even for the global market. Have you calculated for Indian market? Because they are going to invest a huge amount in content production. So have you accounted for that?
I try to counter that, but I didn't have complete information. I just have information about 420 million spent on 2020 in 21 and 70 million spent in 2017, and the average revenue from one subscriber per monthly is 1.4, and the annually is for I think $13.63 million dollar. But I didn't know about the fixed cost, the cost of the Indian market. So based on this I just calculate it's based on this I just calculate it's negative $3.4 contribution. So I didn't go for that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Alina Seher.
I just want to ask that Netflix has a clear target of achieving 100 million subscribers in India specifically. So, according to your assumptions and analysis, in how many years Netflix can achieve that? In next 5 years, 6 years, or how many years?
Alina, is this your answer, question on break-even analysis or cash flow? Can you please repeat?
Overall, because
Yes, Alina.
I would like to
I
answer
think
that. In the, I mean, we can do very detailed models over here, but in the presentation, I try to summarize. But let's go to the news side of what they're saying and their reports that they have published. So they say that in 2022, they are definitely going to increase their income, improve their financial ratios. So if they are going into the positive free cash flow, I think they will have a lot of investment to invest in India, specifically in India, because that's their main focus right now. So I think that from the reports that they have given, the announcements they have made, the news they have published, they are going to reach their target in the near future, maybe less than 5 years or not more than 5 years, because they are, when I read their news and their and their reports, they were like, we are going to buy our shares, and we are going to invest in the company, in the original content. So when they're saying they're going to invest in the original content, they're definitely going to um, increase their revenues. I mean, revenues, if they're covering up their costs, their revenues are automatically going to go up because they're going to increase their promotion and costs related to that. I hope that answers your question, Alina.
Zahra, just want to comment on that answer. That what you just described is what Netflix is doing and what is adopting as a strategy. I wanted to ask that the strategies that you have stick to as a team, in your opinion, and if Netflix adopt your strategies and your assumptions, then in how many years he will going to achieve its target?
If you are asking about how many years, I think that if they adopt our strategies, they're definitely going to reach their revenue target. Minimum 5 years, I would say, less than 5 years.
Is there hindsight or a calculation behind it?
That's the data that has been taken from the reports that were published and the announcements that were made. Like, they were very sure that we are going to do that. And when someone has that much of motivation, I think that they are very serious about it.
Daniel, your turn. Last question. Oh, we have Sarah as well. Daniel, you're unmuted. Brief questions, please. Let's wind it up. Mohammed Daniel. Let's go to Sarah in the meanwhile. Sarah Batul, you're unmuted. No, I think you need to reset your audio connection. Daniel, if you're Sarah,
Yes,
just
sir.
go to audio and switch between computer audio, no phone. All right. Yes, Daniel, go on.
Okay, good evening all. You presented it so well. I have some questions related to your break-even analysis. If you come to that slide, I want to mention some data. I think if you guys tell me that your data is on assumptions or what, like the fixed cost, number of subscribers, and all.
Daniel, I'm already said that my data is 3 month assumption base. The 7 month is 27 2021 8 month data is 7 month, oh sorry, 9 month, 9 month data is actual, and 3 month is my assumptions based on the growth in previous quarters. So that's why it's ups and down to your data. And the number of subscriber, I just calculate. I just have 14.78 in reports. The average revenue, I just total revenue divided by the number of average revenue. I just come out with a number of subscribers. I guess I just use this.
Okay, just let me complete a thing here. I think so. As per I know, I have searched a lot, and I did the break-even analysis for my group even. So the total number of subscribers they have in 2021 till December 2021, it's 15 millions overall throughout the world, and the profit, their profit margin, they earned 4.3 billion of profit in 2020. And if you calculate it by their growth rate per year, estimated growth rate per year, you can calculate their break even or their profit per user, even per subscriber as well. So that the figures as you have shown here, they are pretty much unrealistic, I can say. So I think maybe if you can elaborate it in, it will be good if you can elaborate it in better way. But still, you make an effort. It's good. And I can suggest a thing that you can use what if analysis. We have shown a table, overall profits over the rates and the number of subscribers. I think you guys have seen that. It's more easy to calculate break even through that analysis.
Okay, Daniel, I will try through what if analysis. I didn't think about the what if analysis during this, but I will use this. Use this.
Thank you very much. Very well answered. I think, Daniel, your point is also well taken. However, since Nadeem had mentioned the assumption and had clearly, told that this is how you done the calculation, you could have, of course, methodology or a better choice of analysis. Definitely a good point to raise. But if a presenter has sort of defined the scope of this calculation, I think we can let it go. I think with that, we go to Feroz. Feroz, if you're there, what are your comments? Yes, Feroz. Can see you're slowly coming off mute.
Hello, audible?
Yes, Feroz, yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So I was saying the participants they go into so much detail about the financial and technical aspects that I don't have any margin of commenting about that specifically. But for this specific group, I do have a suggestion that while they were using the average rate per subscriber, they could have gone for weighted average. That in that way that their results could have been a bit streamlined. But overall, I liked the presentation. The use of icons was very good. Was a very good idea. You guys connected the points with those icons in a good manner. And these are my suggestions. I like the coordination, good confidence, and also my favorite part: only relevant information was presented. And that's it from my side.
Okay, thank you very much. I think overall, very good work. I think considering that there were only 3 people who were doing this work, or was it 3 presenters and more people did contributed to the presentation. I don't know that, but if it says prepared by 3 individuals, I think this was a good effort. I think, Zara, in your part, you could have been a little more precise when talking about the culture of the organization. I think you went into some detail which was not required. Um, Having said that, and then I noticed that since there was a mistake in your slide, rather than using your knowledge of the case, very easily describing it, that there was a culture of evaluating colleagues. We call that 360-degree evaluation. There was a culture of on an average 30 individuals evaluated by each each employee of the company, and that could have been mentioned in very little detail. And if such a thing comes on the screen, if there's a mistake, you very quickly mention it, apologize for it, and then go on. Okay, so I saw you did that. However, you could have explained that part a bit as well in one sentence. So I think overall, very encouraging, very very focused. The artwork, the presentation was not boring at all. It was very nicely put together. Presentation was also very good. Nadeem, I could very easily note the way you were answering questions. You were being specific. The last comment you made to the question asked about break even, about the subscribers, I think you handled that very well. So I think overall, once again, another very good presentation. I would rate you, amongst the, one of the best presentations made today. And I think Feroz more or less also agreed with this assessment. There was an individual who said this was a very good presentation. Well, who was it? Moaz. Moaz, I'm going to ask you, why did you make that comment out of the blue? Well, you remained silent throughout, and all of a sudden you came in and you praised this. Thank you very much. Very good appreciation. And I think that's all I have to say. Again, excellent work. A big round of applause for this group as well. Feroz, are we done with all the groups? Nadia Rahim.
I believe Nadia also wanted to present. Nadia, can you let us know if you want to present today? Nah, I think she has some group members with her.
All right, so if Irfan Ali and Alina Seher can lower their hands. In fact, Nadia.
Sir, meantime, can I ask you a question?
Please go on.
Sir, I just wanted to ask, is there any good technique to research the case study? I mean, from your side.
Okay, so I think if it is about data, use the most recent data. That's the best strategy. But one thing that I've found a little missing and must always be done, if you're using an assumption, please mention that on the slide, at least so it remains visible for everyone. Okay, I understood that most of the presenters did mention that they were using assumptions, but it's always advisable to mention it somewhere. If you're using some data from a website, please make a reference to that website. Okay, that takes a lot of responsibility off your shoulders. However, since you're professionally qualified accountants, I would want to see that you go for the most reliable data or most reliable information on the net. As I told you that a lot of universities have done case studies on Netflix, and you could find a lot of content on the websites as well. I think so. Therefore, a lot of data was available. I can't say that this case study was presenting something wrong while another case study was in contradiction. So I didn't see such a situation. But therefore, I think when you're going for for information generally not commonly available, when you're digging it up, I mean, try and go for the most authentic information available. Go for audited accounts. Go for information which has been endorsed by somebody. Yeah, so things like those. I know for a fact that there are competitors who give out wrong information about organizations. They use these techniques to undermine competition, and therefore one has to stay clear of misinformation. So that is what is important. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Do we have Nadia and Moaz Sohail to present? I think let's very quickly do it, since I mean it'll be unfair if we don't give them the chance. Nadia called me up and said she's finding it difficult to pull along with the team members. So if she's made the effort, let's very quickly go and listen to her. So Nadia Rahim and Moaz Sohail, let's have both of them. Let's be very quick and to the point.
Hello, everyone. Am I
Hello.
audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Okay, we completed it in the last 15 minutes before the session started. So I would appreciate it if you guys keep that in mind. Secondly, sir, we've got Aish as well in our team. Can you add him too?
Yes, I'll add him.
Okay.
Yes, done.
Okay. Is it visible in slideshow mode? I don't know how it works.
Slideshows the bottom
Mm,
to the right. You want to do that? Just click the button at the bottom.
Tool menu? No, it's a drawing
Yeah,
one
that's it.
option. Okay.
That's it. That's it. It's working.
Okay, it's working now.
It's on.
Okay. This is what we came up with. Okay, let's start. Contents are the learning objectives, as we all know. Okay, the first slide is about competing. And okay, sorry. Let me introduce my team first. We are Iconic, comprising of me, Aish, and Moaz Sohail. Very helpful teammates, and I'm very thankful to them as well, because we were able to accomplish this. Okay, let's go ahead then. Competing on agility. Basically, when I was going through the case study, the strategy summarized it very well. What they like, how agile they are with the moving market and everything. So basically, they were the main focus is on commercial free services and at low affordable prices without any monthly fee, and that's because they do not make their customers live attached to some type of commitment or not. So basically, and this helped them to gain several customers, and uh, uh, other than this strategy also helped them uh, have the least amount of unsubscribers as compared to the other service providers. Basically, they have differentiated themselves with by saying that they do not go for like everything. They are a focused group. So and they have compared themselves with Starbucks, not 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven is something, a brand, I believe, that is jack of all trades. They cover a very wide variety of stuff. And similarly, the other two given, HBO, not Dish. Yeah, HBO is also very competitive with its services. Similarly, Initial industry leadership, which they covered the market area, market portion, was through licensing important, very famous shows such as Avengers and Friends, which is a very famous sitcom. Similarly, they added quality original content, which was House of Cards, and I have watched it and it was very good, although it didn't have a good ending. Okay, then other than this, Netflix attributes its growth to its very good culture, like very effective culture that avoids bureaucracy. Basically, it involves what their values are: freedom and responsibility. They give their employees enough freedom to come up with good ideas, and they do avoid rules, which is part and parcel to this particular option. Apart from that, they believe in dream team because mediocrity brings mediocre results. Apart from that, they like promote candid conversations with each another, and obviously this is also going to then help with transparency, and as an end result, the end culture promotes creativity and growth. Okay, now I would like to call Aish, and he's going to discuss funding growth relevant to historical and future cash flows.
Thank you, Nadia. I think I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, you are.
Good evening. Yeah, good evening, all of you. I will just quickly go through the information. As you can see, the according to the funding growth strategy of the Netflix, basically, first of all, I must say this is for the global context. We have taken the information, and accordingly, even though their free cash flows are negative for the past couple of years till 2019, in recent years, we have been seeing that the positive free cash flows have been generated in 2020. However, in 2021, again, it has converted to the negative. In Netflix India, from the operational point of view, the revenue from the global market, it's somewhere around 1/20th of the global revenue for the Indian market throughout the period in up to 2020, up to 2019. But from 2020, it was something around 1/10 of the total revenue of the Netflix, meaning that there is a improving strategy from the revenue perspective from the Indian market. Also in 2019, the revenue from the Indian market was 1.4 billion, and in 2020 it was around 2.4 billion. Going far more that for the paid memberships, even there have been drastically increase in the membership from 2019 to 2020. 2019 it was about 16 million, and 2020 about 25 million. So apart from that, if we analyze the projected cash flows from the available information, these are based on assumptions, and you can see there are positive trends in projected cash inflows for the time period starting 2020 to 2022. Even for the net projected cash flow, even we can see there is a improving trend for the Netflix operations. And finally, their funding strategy should we feel that their funding strategy should be more focused on issuing debt as usual, or they can raise funds through stock exchange listing, or otherwise in Hollywood, in Bollywood, there are some they are in a position to partnering with Hollywood and Bollywood directors on streaming content, so that they will be able to manage the cash outflows with them, especially for the end production deals, and it will ease their cash flow propositions. That's all from the cash flow point of view. I will hand over most to the final session. Thank you. Most, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Aish. Well, basically, I would like to tell you about the learning objective 5. Nadia, can you please move the slide, the next slide? Yeah, thank you. Well, the point was about to refine their estimates of future cash flows, use a simple break-even analysis model incorporating average price, number of subscribers, churn rates, expected fixed and marginal costs. So basically, first of all, I calculated average price of subscription per annum. It was given that the price in India, I would be talking about specifically Indian market, the price was between $7.16 to $11.46 per month. So after calculating the average price, it was $9.31 per month, whereas it was also stated that there was an option of mobile only for Indian consumers. That was $2.58. Whereas I also calculated variable cost per annum, but that was an assumption. I couldn't. That was an estimate, which I took $7.5. So after calculating the contribution, I took break even, which was $19.34, whereas India had approximately 2 million subscribers in 2019. Thirdly, subscriber that can meet break even was 2.09. That was basically a formula that I had to put in and calculate the value. And whereas the expected fixed cost was calculated after increasing by 30%, as in the case study, it was said that the total cost of production plus 30% premium would be added for the forecast. Lastly, the churn rates are estimated to be 22 per dollar. Again, it was assumed, as the churn rates are the one in which it states that the consumer will likely go away at the price which they will switch to another product. Now over to you, Nadia.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, and this is the concluding slide. Basically, Netflix wants to create India its next 100 million subscriber market, and the ecosystem in Indian SVOD ecosystem is quite already saturated with several big players, which include their streaming video players, traditional TV distributors. Then there are international streaming video players, large local broadcasters, and Indian telecommunication companies. Basically, despite all this competition, Netflix is very much into the Indian market. According to their VP, it's been the fastest investment that they have made in the country since they launched, and it really reflects the richness of the content. Basically, they know that there are very creative storytellers in the market, and it's going to help them in future. It's not only the customers, it's also the content that they are after. So in conclusion, these are few suggestions that can help them to reach the market more positively. Basically, that includes live broadcasts of sports, as you all know that they are fanatics when it comes to cricket. And then obviously user-generated content, and that too in local languages, and should be cultural oriented. Besides this, they can switch to profitability, drive profitability from advertisements, although it is not part of their strategy, but this can help. But I don't think they are going to go for it. And lastly, but not least, mergers and acquisitions. Working with local partners is going to help them a lot. So this was our presentation. Thank you all for listening to us. And now I give it to you guys.
Thank you very much. Questions, please. Alina has already raised her hand. Nipa has also raised her hand. So Alina, you go first.
I have two questions. My number one question is that they have estimated the
Can you go with one
subscription.
question, please? Only.
Okay.
Whichever
Okay.
you think is
So
more
they.
relevant.
Okay. So there is this subscription price mentioned $19.34. The competitors, okay, it's per month or per year. And given the fact that India is a very sensitive market and the competitors are charging $14.33, do you think it's an appropriate price to charge?
Well, actually, a price that basically break even the amount because initially it's showing negative cash flow. So in order to get into the positive cash flow, they have to raise the price.
Wouldn't that affect the number of subscribers?
Yes, definitely. It's but based on the break-even formula, if you see the formula, it's the fixed cost divided by selling price minus variable cost. So after having the historical data, it shows that $7.16 was the starting price, and it ranges between 11.46. So after calculating the average price, selling price, I deducted the assumed variable cost. Then there was a fixed cost, I assumed $430 million. After that, it came $19.34.
May I add to this? I
Yes.
believe not the apart from this, inflation has also the part to play. Besides this, they like heavily invest into the productions. So obviously price will be affected due to that as well.
Okay, thank you. Nipa, why don't you go for next?
Thank you. I have a questions about the churn rate. It has been estimated $22 per month. How it has been estimated and what's the impact will be? Thank you.
Well, thank you. After looking after the definition of the churn rate, I assume that it was stated that this is the rate basically that moves away the customer. It is the highest rate that I think it will turn away the customer from their Netflix product.
Yeah, but how it is $22 per month?
If the
I
break-even
understand it's
price is
estimated. How you have been calculated this?
well, if break-even price is 19.34, then I added $3 based on that. If the prices further increase, then the customers are not gonna buy the product of Netflix.
That means churn rate would be the number of customers the Netflix gonna lose. As long as it will price gonna be up, so it will lose the customer. So that's many
Yes.
customers they will lose per monthly. So that will be the rate. So this 22 pound, I mean, you top up with the 19 pound and it comes to the 22. So is it the rate you think? Is it per person? So what's the rate? And with that basis, for example, if it is 1% churn rate or 2% or 3%, so if every single customers they lose the Netflix, so in that sense, so what is the per person subscription will be loser? So it's only one, you think they will lose only one customer? So
No.
for that reason they will lose like 22 pound per month.
No, you're not getting my point. Basically, $22 is the per subscriber price. If they charge $22, that means they are losing the customer. It's that much high price that the customers can't afford. They will definitely move to the alternate option. That is, there are so many in India, including Hotstar and many others that are being stated in the case study.
Basically, what he is saying is that this is the price, if charged, is going to lose it's going to enable Netflix to lose its customers.
That's for one customer cost, right?
No.
Not for
No. It's not. See, the working is this amount is not per year or something. It's only per one consumer subscription per one consumer. Suppose if there are several
Yes.
consumers, you multiply
that's
this
I mentioned. Like this is one consumer subscription,
Yeah,
not only
that's
the
right.
per month. That's I wanted to mean. Thank
Yes,
you
yes,
for
sure.
understanding.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. And the last question now, sorry, second last. Irfan Ali, a quick question. And Sarah, you'll be asking the last question. Irfan?
Yes, I have a question. They have calculated the subscription price at $19.34. I think it is so much high. Previously, up to 2021, they were charging maximum price for the premium plan that was $10.74. For 2022, they have reduced that price from 10.74 to $8.72. That is the maximum price against any subscriber they will charge. So how you think that it will fit for them to charge $19.34? I mean, there are already 31 other competitors working in the same industry in India, and if Netflix has to survive and to achieve 100 million new subscribers, it will not fulfill the purpose.
Yeah,
You should.
yes, yes. Yeah, I
That
do
is.
agree with your point, but the point is that if you have read the page number 11, in the last paragraph, it stated that Netflix subscription prices in India had ranged from 7.16 to 11.46 per month. So
No.
in the learning objective, it was stated that calculate the break-even in simple terms, incorporating the average price of the subscription. So after calculating the average price of both of these values, I took the value of 9.31, which was the average price per subscription
But
per month. All right. Then after
but
inputting these values in the formula, I got 19.34. Although it is high and the customers are not gonna go for it, but
It's a
it is the
break
amount
even
that
one, no?
will give them the break-even point.
It's not the
Initially, they had,
optimal strategy that they
yeah,
should go for, I believe.
yeah,
It's the break even
pre-
price.
previously you were saying that they have to if they have to invest heavily on the content
I said
production.
that. Yeah.
Yes, you said that if they have
Inflation,
to
yeah.
produce content, then they have to increase their prices. But on the other hand, they have decreased
Mhm.
their prices for 2022. So
See,
in my opinion,
may
this is
I
not.
add to this?
Yes,
I
yes.
yes, yes.
said these factors increase the amount. I didn't mean that they should go for that price. But you see, we have suggested some other things as well, like having these three, like having profitability from advertisement and having local partners and then going for live content. So this is going to help them reduce their prices as well.
And
So
secondly, yeah, if you allow me, Nadia,
yeah,
it's
sure,
also
go ahead, go ahead.
it's also stated that Netflix in 2019 announced the launch of a mobile-only subscription plan exclusively in India, priced at $2.85. So basically, they are offering multiple options to the consumers in India so that they can cope up with the loss element with the profit element from this mobile application, which is mostly used in India.
Yeah, and that is going to be mostly used and is still being used, I believe, by the people who live in rural areas and everything. And that is the majority of the market that comprises an Indian ecosystem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sarah, your last question, please. You're unmuted. Sarah Batul.
Okay, can you hear me, sir, now? Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, yeah.
Okay. My question is that I see that one of you suggested that Netflix should start broadcasting live sports in India. I believe that is deviating from its global strategy entirely. So what do you think? How would they do it, and what are the repercussions on their global strategy if they do this?
Actually, I believe all of them are against their strategy. All of the suggestions. That is why they are struggling in India. India is a completely different market, as even culturally, if you see. It's basically it's comparison of Eastern and Western culture. So they have to compromise somewhere.
Let me add you more about it. Basically, the Indian market also consists of so many competitors like Z5. They are already offering sports live transmission, because it basically there are so many competitors in that market. So in order to compete with that competitors, Netflix has to introduce this different strategy in India.
Or come up with completely new, because remember when in the initial pages in the case study it was mentioned that they rejected Netflix offer because it was something that the other rival could do themselves as well. So and in India, if we see, the ecosystem is very competitive. So they have to come up with a strategy that is a bit different when compared with rest of the world.
I agree with both of you, but I think that is what they're trying to resist. They're trying to stick to their value proposition. And again, that is like giving Netflix a different image and branding altogether. So let's see what they do.
All right, I think let's stop at that. Good questioning. Very. I'm amazed, rather. Now I would not say I'm happy. I'm amazed at the level of questioning. I think excellent effort by everyone. It goes to show that all of you have very thoroughly read the case study. You're fully immersed in it. So I think that's very heartening to know. Sarah, this is exactly a question that a lot of people at ACCA would ask. I mean, should we align ourselves to a global strategy, or should we act local? So this is always a very sensitive point where, and look at the statement that ACCA came up with. Think global, act local. That's the statement that ACCA came up with about 10 years ago. Yeah. So fine, we're a global organization. We would not want to impose our global strategy. Alignment is a must, but we can still have local, in innovations, local measures. So a very pertinent question, and I'm glad you picked it up. Feroz, can we hand over to you for any feedback?
Yes, sure. I've been waiting for this. By far, in my opinion, in only my opinion, this presentation was the most visually attractive and impressive presentation. The negatives would only be the fluency, because I can understand there was lack of time for preparation of the participants. But in my opinion, this theme, the accuracy of font, the accuracy of the overall theme of the presentation would be something that I would be looking forward to seeing in a Netflix meeting. But I really liked the visuals. The infographics were complete. Uh, I'm being honest and I'm being straight.
The content.
Yeah, the content they
Any comment
covered the
about the
content.
content?
Yeah, the content was covered thoroughly. They covered all the learning objectives and they structured it for the audience. I don't think anybody would have trouble finding the learning objectives in this presentation. I like this presentation a lot.
Really? Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And that goes to show some inclination that Feroz has towards this group. I'm of course going to play the balancing
Sorry.
act. All right, but
Thank you, Feroz.
I think now I'm going to make an overall comment, and I agree with Feroz's comments as well. But I'm going to now make an overall comment. I think the dedication, the the complete, immersing yourself into a situation. I saw this. I've done, but 5 or 6 digit sessions in the past. The way I've seen it here, it's exemplary, and literally, I'm so glad that all of you have taken this initiative very seriously. You are really investing time in your own development, and if you compare what you've done today, if you compare that with, could you do that in October last year before the start of the program? I mean, look at the progress that all of you have made. This particular presentation, Feroz picked it up. I mean, the fluency was a little bit of an issue, but that goes to show the importance of, I mean, fantastic. You've done the content very well. You've done the presentation very well. Take some time out and rehearse, or at least do a mind mapping of what you're going to say. That fluency shows that you came prepared. I mean, look at the preparation that done by other groups, literally trying to synchronize the handing over, the switching over, the way other groups have done it. I think this goes to show that just one element, which is either the presentation or the delivery, I mean, they both have to go hand in hand. If you compromise on one, automatically, you must have done a fantastic job with the presentation, but the delivery was a little, wanting, and therefore, that sort of compromises on the outcome. But I mean, this is not a discouragement. I think you've done fantastic. Your ability to answer questions was very good. The depth of the case study was very good. Just just another comment, and that was that probably Nadia in the end was mentioning about situation where Netflix made an offer to a competitor and the competitor declined. So if you have to quote such a thing, please have the complete facts available. Okay, so that when you're making a comment, your comment should be taken as authentic. Okay, it should not just be taken as as a as a not for sure wishy-washy comment. Yeah. So if you're making it, be very sure. If you don't have that information, there are other ways of making that comment, right? So just like you could have said, just like you've seen the case study, making an offer to competitors, and competitors did not take Netflix seriously. They rejected the offers. That's how you completely ignore the name of the organization, right? And complete confidence in delivery sort of goes to show that you've assessed the content very well. I think in terms of analysis, in terms of your own judgment, in terms of digging deeper into, coming up with information, extrapolating information, analyzing, presenting, challenging, and I really, really like that part, right? Challenging, the way you were challenging each other, right? That is exactly the technique that you have to use, while asking questions. And I can say if you can build up on what you've done, I can see most of you, if I would say all of you, that would be an even more encouragement. All of you, in some part of your lives, get into a C-level position. I can promise you that, right? This is such an important aspect of personalities when you're talking about growth, when you're talking about professional development. Such an important, important aspect that this simply cannot be ignored. You see a difference between somebody who has been working all his life and never made it to the top. This is that one factor that that can take you there. So excellent job, all of you. I'm really, really excited. Feroz, I am getting inclined towards facing so much of a difficulty in getting, getting to park a winner. I'm going to call, 2 or 3 winners, and I'm going to send out I'm not going to divide the gift into, 6 presentations. I'm probably going to send all of you, the same, the same prize for doing a fantastic job. However, we may still need a winner, because what we're planning on doing is that the best presentation, I'm going to invite a team of ACC officials to come in and listen to these presentations, to look at the way you've put them together, and or maybe Feroz, you to advise, how about invite them to the MISA town hall meeting, in which there are about 50 ACCA employees present, from across the MISA region, and share this wealth of knowledge, this flamboyant style of presentation. You share it with them, and that is what one group from the future members group, and one group from the members team, they're going to make that presentation. Feroz, I also suggest that we do some profiling of all these members who've presented. We need your small pictures. We need a small quote from you. Let's focus on them. Let's take some images from their presentation, and let's do a campaign on what these guys have done, have delivered. So excellent work. Thank you so very much. I'm really, really excited with what all has been achieved. Really happy for all of you. I hope you will all keep it up, and in the rest of your 6 digits program, and even afterwards, you show off this new competence of yours in your organizations also at work. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I know we've taken a lot of time. It's about 9:30, 3.5 hour session. And I can see people glued on, sticking on, listening. That is exemplary. So I'm really, really happy for all of you. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Feroz, for your invaluable support, invaluable feedback. I think that was very, very positively received. Hopefully, we will be communicating to you our next plan. The next week, we're thinking about starting our tax sessions. So if all goes well, we'll jump straight onto taxation. If we have to shift the session on, a day or so, I will probably bring in a session that I will conduct on dressing up techniques. And I was looking at some of the content that I have with me on this. I am going to work on with you people on dressing up and how to dress up for the occasion. So probably a session on that. Otherwise, we'll do that after the taxation sessions. So next week, what we're going to do is we're going to merge you with the members. The sessions are going to be on Mondays and Wednesdays only, and your unmoderated sessions are going to continue as usual. So what we're going to do is about 16 hours of content for taxation per country, right? So which means so about three for about 3 countries. I think for Bangladesh and Sri Lanka will take less time because their tax rules are easier. Pakistan's are a little difficult. So probably 16 hours for Pakistan, but 10 hours each for Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. That will make it about 36 hours. So that's what the plan is going to be. I just have to finalize a few things with the trainers from Pakistan, and hopefully from Monday we will kick off. The presentation or the delivery is going to be very workshop style. We're going to make it applied once again and not just theory. So we're going to give you situations, and in your unmoderated sessions, we're going to put you into some deep end and get you to think deep on and work on how to work on situational tax assessments. So with that, thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend. And like I said to the other group the other day, celebrate this. Celebrate this with your group mates. I think you've all done a fantastic job. Really difficult to find out who the winner is, but definitely we will be getting back to you by Monday with the results. And hopefully all of you will going to eagerly wait for the results. Thank you very much, all of you. And with that, we beg your leave. Thank you and take care. Do give your feedback about your learnings in the WhatsApp group or on social media. I'll be more than happy to read and respond to the comments that you make. I'm sure others who are not a part of these sessions, they'll also get excited by the level of involvement that you guys have shown. So thank you very much. Take care of yourselves and goodbye.